right, welcome back to Beat the Count. We are live here at Sweet Science Boxing and MMA in Hawthorne, California. A little bit of boxing went on this weekend that I imagine we'll talk about today. But first, let me introduce who we have with me. To my right, of course, we have the creator, owner of Sweet Science Boxing and MMA, professional boxing coach and insider, Coach Marco Trejo.
What's up, guys? I'm not Stacks.
You're not Stacks.
I'm not Stacks.
That's true. You are
I'm
not
Coach.
Stacks.
I'm me, but I'll be in place of Stacks for
Stacks,
today.
yeah, I was gonna, Stacks doesn't want to show his face today. He made up some excuse about his flight being grounded, but I think it has something to do with the fight last night.
I think he's in a food coma in Texas.
A food coma in Texas after his predictions, after his fight predictions.
Dude, he said Whataburger is better than In-N-Out.
I saw that, and I think that's why he can't return to L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
say
think
stay
he's
there.
kicked out, right? You're kicked out if you say that?
Stay there, bro.
Stay there, bro.
Stay with your burgers.
Oh, my goodness. And then to my far left, returning, Jen Carroll. How's it going?
Hi, good, thanks.
Of
Glad to be
Jen's
back.
Fitness.
Jen's Fitness Evolution.
Jen's Fitness Evolution. And, of course, we have the man of the hour, or the couple hour, however long we take to talk about Mikey Garcia, I guess.
I think it was a couple minutes.
Yeah. George Navarro, El Phantasma. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Undefeated.
Undefeated. 4-0.
4-0.
And you are fighting next week.
Yeah, next week at the Avalon.
At the Avalon Hollywood, right?
Yes.
For 360 Promotions?
Yes.
Tom Loeffler?
Yep.
Cool. And this is your second round at 360 Promotions?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Tom Loeffler. And you guys really get down, man. I remember the last time we did one, I got here to set up for the show, and you guys were like getting on the party bus.
Oh yeah,
heading over to Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
This time it's a 50 passenger bus. It's
bigger?
full.
It's bigger?
Yeah. We're actually considering getting another one for
Nicer.
20 because we've got way more people that want to go.
Oh, really?
But yeah, this one is a brand new bus too. So
A brand new party bus to head down to Hollywood. So what's that? Do you have to deal with the temptation on the bus?
Me?
no, for me, no. He's more sitting down and relaxing.
That's what I mean for him. Like,
no,
is
I'm just on my phone, like
you're just on your phone?
my music.
You got everybody partying around you and stuff
The
like
one
that?
that can't handle it
Is
is
Marco?
Marcos.
Me? No.
I would turn over and his face, he was so pissed. I was like, we will.
I
calm
try
down."
to be serious the whole time, but I was disappointed inside that I couldn't party
Yep.
on the way there.
Oh.
But that's tradition. You got to party after the fight.
after.
Party after the fight, but you
It was much sweeter after the fight. 'cause
You
we
keep it
whooped some
fun.
ass. Yeah.
So we should probably mention that relationship. So for your last two fights, you've been trained by Coach Marco Trejo.
Yep.
Beat the Count.
Yeah. Well, I stepped in about a month before his last fight, and then we've done a full camp for this fight. So I'm excited to see how he performs on this next fight with some of the stuff we've been working on, because I know we have a decent opponent, and we're ready to show something different.
Cool. Shout out to Iconic Apparel. Iconic jumped on. They said Team Phantom, Team Phantasma.
Thank you.
Thanks. So a question about that. You mentioned after your last fight, which you won by knockout,
Yeah.
right? You mentioned that you found out like a week in advance that he was a southpaw.
Yeah.
So what was that like, having to adjust your game plan that late? And how did that information come to you, and what did you do to correct it?
You asked me randomly, right? You told me randomly.
Yeah, well, I had
she told
thought
me.
it's
Oh,
because
do you know he's southpaw, right? And I was like, no.
The original coach that he had, we weren't speaking, so I didn't know if he had told him, and I couldn't see the training. And then we had moved to a different coach, and then that's where I had told him. I think it was like the second, third day that I saw him, and I was like, I mentioned the southpaw, so it was never mentioned from the beginning to him. So.
Okay. And did that seem to throw a wrench in your game plan at all, or were you prepared for that?
It didn't really, but it was just like I had to adjust more to the southpaw. You know, it was gonna be my first time ever fighting a southpaw in the pros and the amateurs. I never fought a southpaw in the amateurs. It was fun.
What was your amateur experience like? Like, how many fights did you have?
I did 30 amateur fights with 5 losses.
And are you from here originally?
Yeah. No, I'm from Huntington Park.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're from around the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And so you've been training in boxing for how long, roughly?
About 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah.
Man, that's a long time.
Yeah.
How old are you, man?
I'm 20.
You
gonna
could
be
say
21.
you're going to be 21?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you're not distracted by that party bus, huh?
No. I'm used to, like, my family likes to get lit, so like I always been around them. So like,
Yeah,
the majority of it
My
was his
family
family.
likes to get lit too. Trust me.
Dude,
I-
that bus was on fire on the way back.
Yeah.
It
Those
was awesome.
poles
Papa?
were used
Yeah.
left and right.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
Yeah, they had
I'm
stripper
sorry.
poles
Those
in the bus.
what?
The poles were used.
There
There
was
was
stripper
poles
poles.
on
There
the
were
bus?
stripper poles in the bus. Yeah.
Who was on the coach? Were you up on the pole or what?
We tried. He was probably the only one that didn't go on there. Even George went on with another rival that took
Yeah.
off his shirt, and it was just a battle.
I'm
after
not
that.
as I'm not as in good shape as George, so I was like, no, I'll chill on
I think
that.
it was you and Joey.
I would have killed.
that
I
didn't
would
do
have killed the whole
pole.
mood, if I got up there. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so you trained with Joey as well, who was
Yeah.
on last week. Yeah, Joey Booty, who also trains at Sweet Science Boxing. Cool, man. So how'd you get into the fight game?
goes way back. My older brothers used to box. My cousins used to box. I come from a boxing family.
Okay.
My dad, grandparents, they love boxing, and uncles. So like every family party, we always had boxing gloves at their house or in our car. So like they used to make us box, but I bet my son could kick your son's ass. What's up? How much you want to bet? Yeah, and like they used to throw down with the neighbors, everyone. So like
That's interesting.
No, I've gone to when we deliver tickets and everything. The amount of people that have told me the stories, like you hear it and you think one thing, but when you hear the stories that he's been fighting since he was like 2 years old, like it's just in his blood to fight.
That's cool. So in terms of a boxing background, is it something that you always wanted to do, or do you feel like your family drove you to step into boxing?
something I always wanted to do. The first time I ever seen a boxing fight, I fell in love with the sport. And I was always a grumpy kid, with anger management. So like I always wanted
I hear
to
that
fight.
a lot.
I always wanted
It's
to fight.
only when he
I-
doesn't eat.
Like when I was in school, like kindergarten, pre-K, I used to try to fight with the teacher because he didn't want to give me a toy. I used to try to punch him.
Tell them about how your mom would say that you would put socks for boxing gloves,
We used to put socks and then we used to throw down, me and my brothers.
like a ton of socks
Yeah.
over just to make boxing gloves.
Oh man, so you do some training with Jen too.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you guys do together?
Strength conditioning.
Okay.
Pull.
What are the tidbits? What are the tips, Jen?
For this one, we're doing things a little bit different, more footwork, more speed. We definitely built more the top part this time, because he had to come down on weight. So with doing that, it's better for me. So we built the top, gave him more power on that area, but a lot more footwork this time, a lot of footwork. And then definitely doing some drills, 45 seconds on, really getting that heart rate to go skyrocket high, and then bringing it down for 15 seconds and then right back on.
So, what weight are you? What's this next fight? What's this?
It's
next
118, and then after this fight,
118.
I'm dropping back down to 115.
Okay, so 118, 115, but you've gone
Yeah.
up and down as a professional,
Yeah.
kind of in that area. Okay, is there still room on the party bus, or
Yeah, plenty of room.
You're coming, right? Trying to
Me?
get tickets?
I would love to.
It's filling up
I have a
quick.
show on
Yeah.
Sundays that I do.
Oh, yeah.
There's actually, I should mention that the number of people watching this, there's the customary sirens that happens at least once an episode, but there is a fight on Top Rank on ESPN Plus right now. So it's St.
Oh,
Patrick's Day. At least that's what I've been told. I'm not wearing green though. Nobody is.
Is it
None of you
con-
guys
is-
are wearing
is
green.
it con-
No
is
one.
con- is it
Oh, there's a
Conlon?
little bit of green in here, so.
St.
okay.
Patrick's Day, so you guys know that Michael Conlon's fighting
Yeah,
right
he
now.
has to
Yeah.
be, right?
Hey,
Gotta have an
And-
Irish guy fighting.
Yeah,
us.
so Michael Conlon's fighting right now, and so is Louis Collazo, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think they're both fighting right
Dude,
now.
he's got to be like 50 years old.
Collazo?
Nah, I mean, but he's been around
Collazo?
for a long time.
Yeah.
He does seem like he's been around forever.
Yeah. I mean, he
Yeah.
was fighting in the early 2000s against like Molinagi and some of those other guys, Hatton.
Yeah.
It's surprising that he's still around, but yeah, I mean, he's a
Well,
good-
Malinagi's still around. He's going to do some bare knuckle boxing.
Nah.
Did you guys see that?
Whatever.
That's
Yeah.
a true thing. He signed a 2-year
I
contract.
don't think
Whatever.
you
Bare
should
knuckle,
do that.
man.
I don't think you should do that.
Coach, I don't think
Nah.
he should do that.
He's
He
gonna
said
get it. He
whatever.
might actually get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
We'll see. I guess he should either do very well or very poorly, I would think.
Yeah, one or the other.
I'm not sure
He can
which one.
box though.
Yeah.
We know he
Yeah,
can box.
of course we know he can. We
He
know
has
he
a pretty
can.
good jab.
Yeah.
He has a really good jab.
I actually used to study Paulie Malignaggi jabs. Like you could find videos of him
Yeah.
training different jabs and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
used to watch him do jabs a lot because I actually thought he had a really effective jab.
I think he did too.
Yeah. But don't tell who was it Boxeo or Steve McCowan, one of those guys.
Those guys on yet?
No, they're not on yet. We'll get, but like I said,
They're probably
there's a
hungover
top
from
rank
last
fight on.
night.
Yeah, plus it's St. Patrick. We're competing with St. Patrick's Day, with Top Rank, with Michael Conlon. We got a lot of competition today.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm going to be competing with you guys. You guys are going to go out and fight, and I'm going to be stuck here setting up for a show.
No, you'll be on the bus.
I want to be on the. What time is the fight?
We're going to kidnap you. I think he is the 4th bout, and if that's the case, he might go on like around 5 o'clock.
When does the card start?
The 3 o'clock. The doors open, so I want to say maybe like 3:30.
Wait, doors open at 3? 3:30?
3. They'd open at 3, but I think the first fight might be 3:30. Depends.
I'm guessing 4, but we'll find out.
Does that work with your schedule? Boxeo said he's here, so shout out to Boxeo.
Nice.
Was it Boxeo? Was it you or Stephen McCowan who was going off on Paulie last week? I don't remember. One of them was.
He's feather fisted. There's no way he's gonna hurt his hands. He's had hand surgeries and all that kind of stuff, injuries over the years. So
that's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
He must be hard up for the cash,
Or he's got the commentating job.
Or he's trying to win that to get his name back in the mix, and
he's trying to get the Conor McGregor fight.
Or maybe he's prepping for some MMA.
He is. He's trying to get that Conor McGregor money. You
Yeah.
know it, man.
That's
know
funny.
it.
Trying to get the big bank.
Oh man. So you mentioned you come from a boxing family.
Yeah.
You've been boxing for the better part of 13 years. So since
Yeah.
you were a child, who are your influences? Obviously, aside from your family members, who are the fighters that you like to watch? And are there any active fighters who you still like to watch today?
As a kid growing up, I used to like watching Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Julio Chavez, Mike Tyson, and now I like Canelo. I like Errol Spence. I like Mikey Garcia. I like Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr. I like a lot of fighters. It's a really big list.
A big list. That's cool though. Yeah. I have a big list of fighters that I like to watch too. So I'm not you're not gonna hear any grief from me. Do you like keep track of the guys who operate in and around your weight class too, or do you not like to do that?
I'm like whatever's, but there's one guy I do want to fight. He has a WBC belt at 115. I forgot his name.
The WBC?
Yeah, he's Filipino.
Let's pull him up. Let's pull up the champions page on BoxRec.
Donnie Nietes, I think, right?
I thought it was Charles.
Let's go. Let's look at BoxRec champions page. This is my favorite page on all of BoxRec because of how.
I think there's a dude that knocked out Triple.
Or Donnie D.
Oh, you want to fight Sorang Visai?
Yeah.
Sorang Visai, yeah. His name is different on BoxRec, but it's Sorang Visai.
He's a beast.
What does they have his name as?
I used to watch. I like to fight.
He's fighting. He's fighting at the Forum in April.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's gonna do the rematch
with
Estrada.
Gallo Estrada.
Yeah, Gallo Estrada.
I'm a big fan of both. I like both.
Yeah. Look at all these guys. You want to fight all these guys, huh? No, I'm just
we want that vacant one.
Yeah, the vacant. I'm like the vacant.
Do you just show up for that and they give it to you? You don't have to fight anybody?
What's up, Dylan Keene? We're talking about Sorang Visai. But, yeah, man. So what is it that draws you to that? Just because he's a bad dude? You want to take on the best people? Or?
Yeah, you want to be the best, you have to fight the best,
That's true.
And somebody,
That's how it used to work back in the day.
He has a belt that I like. He has a belt, the green belt that I love.
Yeah, not anymore.
That's what I said. That's how it used to work back in the day. If you want to be the best, you have to fight the best. We don't see it so much anymore sometimes. Man. But that's cool. So you watch it, like, will you watch that fight card, the one that's at the Forum in Inglewood with these guys? Yeah,
I
we'll check that out.
Watch it.
There's a bunch of stuff. Like, I think Danny Roman's going to unify with TJ Doheny on that card. Shout out to Danny Roman. He was just at the fights on Friday here in Los Angeles in Montebello, the All-Star Boxing card. Danny Roman will be there. Jesse Vargas, I think, is going to be on that card, and it sounds like he's going to fight Humberto Soto. Mm-hmm. So should be some interesting stuff.
Pretty good fights.
Yeah, some pretty good fights. Both Donnie Nietes and Sorang Visai are in my top 10 pound for pound.
Yeah.
I can understand that. That's what Dylan Keene jumped on and said that. I can understand that. Are they lower or higher in your top 10? Where did Errol end up in your top 10 after yesterday? That's a good question. I don't know if it changes his pound for pound status.
It does move him around. I mean, boxing skill, he was right there with Mikey, but I thought that reach advantage was too much. And then, Errol was just stepping back every time Mikey would step in. So,
I feel like Mikey got frustrated.
I mean, he was supposed to beat a smaller guy. Yeah. So how do you get credit for doing what you're supposed to do? Which is still Mikey. He's a badass fighter, but you can't give him too much credit,
You know, the only reason I give him a lot of credit.
You give him credit for having balls,
I give
Mikey.
No, and I said I guess we may as well. Should we get into it?
Might as well.
We start. It's been about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We got some people on the chat. We could talk about it at this point. Okay, so we waited to see if Mikey could pull the rabbit out of his hat, and at the end of the day, all that we were left with was the truth, because that was an absolute lesson for Mikey Garcia, and it was kind of I don't know. I was somewhat heartbroken by it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Mikey is such a
This likable
dude.
guy.
yeah, he's like a likable guy. They're both very likable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually. They're both
And everybody
very,
wants the underdog too, and he was an underdog in that fight too.
yeah,
even though he's normally
I
not.
agree. He was. And a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for even the attempt. But it's hard for me not to be super critical of Mikey given the performance that he did, or that he had. So it just wasn't a competitive event in any way. I thought it was 12 rounds to 0. All three judges thought it was, all three judges thought it was 12 rounds to 0. One of them gave Mikey a 10-8 round. I'm not even sure which round it was. I'm sure.
A 10-8 round.
Yeah.
What did he do?
What's that? Or no, one of them gave, Errol a 10.
Oh, okay.
Gave Errol the advantage of a 10-8 round. So meaning
for sure.
in one of those, because it
Maybe
was
like the 10th or something, or the 9th.
yeah,
or 10th.
exactly, because it was 120-108 on 2 cards, but 120-107 on 1. So one judge even took a point away from Mikey at one point, right? So it was not a competitive affair, and it's hard not to be critical of Mikey's performance, despite the fact that he jumped up and
when the biggest accomplishment is not getting knocked out, you know, you can't really take too much positive away. I mean, the biggest thing for Mikey was he didn't get knocked out. You know, he wasn't effective in establishing, I guess, whatever game plan he had. He couldn't close the distance. He landed a few shots that were flush, but they had no effect. And you know, the other thing is he bit off more than he can chew. I think he could have done better had he worked his way up to that weight class, maybe taken 2 or 3 years before getting to that weight class. But yeah, I mean, he bit off more than he could chew, and it had no effect. And it was a dud, man. He couldn't do anything.
I mentioned Big G had even suggested the same thing. So originally his dad had told him, why don't you take somebody else first, get used to the weight division, and then go and compete. But here's the thing. Here's why I did that. I want everyone to understand, you know, I support Mikey. I'm glad that he did it. I wasn't disappointed by the pay-per-view. A lot of people were very critical of the pay-per-view. I bought it. I'd buy it again.
Got ripped off.
Give me my money back.
I
think those are Mikey fans who feel that way. But I will say that, like, all of the talk now about how, you know, a few days ago, people were jumping on the Mikey bandwagon. Like over the last week, I heard many people, including professional media, boxers, insiders, say that they thought Mikey was going to win this, and that Mikey was going to use superior boxing skill and footwork and all this. People jumped off the Errol Spence train and onto Mikey's train over the last week. And so it has to be somewhat, and Coach, you mentioned before this is a win-win for Mikey. And I think it's a win-win in this way, which is now when Errol wins, everybody goes, yeah, well, he's supposed to win, and Mikey was small. Yeah. But, like, let's be clear, he outboxed Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, his footwork was superior. He is more athletic. Yeah. He had faster hands. He was working behind a jab. It wasn't just him enforcing size and power.
Mikey looked so slow in there.
He did, yeah.
He looked so slow.
Painfully slow. He looked painfully slow. And Errol worked. And when you look at what Errol did across the first 6 rounds, he worked behind a jab. He was showing boxing technique. Mikey was trying to back up Errol, and Errol was keeping it at the center of the ring. He was using pivots and doing different things.
Well, what bothered
angles. Yeah. He's using angles.
What bothered me is that you know, Errol's a southpaw, and Mikey didn't take any advantage of. You know, an orthodox could do the same thing to a southpaw that a southpaw can do to an orthodox.
Sure, that's true.
And Errol Spence was landing those left hooks, or, you know, throwing them around, looping them around Mikey's guard. Mikey didn't do anything like that. He didn't go to the body. He didn't try to come in and go to the body with like a straight right or anything short. And he bit off more than he could chew. Okay, maybe if you fight somebody that's not a southpaw, but then you're going up in weight class and then fighting somebody that's southpaw, that makes it like doubly tough. You know, it was. Oh man, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that it's frustrating. So let me get on a couple comments here. So Dean said he thought round 9 was 10-8, and I can understand that because there are a number of rounds where Mikey was punished. In fact, I don't know that fight needed to continue past round 10.
It looked like the ref was going to stop it at some point. He was really close.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Really close.
I think it was like 10.
I don't know that the ref,
Well, he's paying attention.
because Mikey was defensively still
he was
applying
aware,
techniques. He was in there trying.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know that it's the ref's place to stop it. I think it was Roberts. Like, I think Robert should have considered at round 10 saying, what's the point? You had, like, what I was saying to these guys before we got on, and I was telling George, like, who knows what happens in round 11 and 12? They could shorten Mikey's career.
I think the whole fight shortened his career.
No, yeah,
to be honest with you.
It could. But what I'm saying is, like, what if he's brutally knocked out in round 11 or round 12? Like, what's the point of continuing? And is there a moral victory in winning a decision that's 120 to 107? You know what I mean? On 3 scorecards. So I personally don't feel as though it had to continue, and I definitely understand giving Errol a 10-8 round despite Mikey not going down.
Was a good example of why there's weight classes.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much it. And like I was mentioning to you earlier, you can strive for greatness, but you got to do it the right way. And you can't just like
jump up.
Yeah, you can't throw a Hail Mary pass or like, just wish that you can do something great. No, it's got to be done the right way. Yeah, he can, like the elder Garcia said, take on somebody that's lesser skilled but the same weight class and ease your way in. Honestly, I think if he done that 2 or 3 fights, he probably could compete with Errol, but you can't do that off your first time going into a higher weight class.
Yeah. So Dylan Keene says he's been disappointed with pay-per-view since May versus Pac. It's hard, I think, at this point. Particularly Showtime and Fox are having to put things on pay-per-view just to make up enough money to produce the purses. Like, so for instance, we heard last week that they're talking about making Dominic Breazeale and Deontay Wilder a pay-per-view. The reason they do that is because they need to come up with a large enough purse for the 2 fighters, particularly for Deontay Wilder. And if they feel the only way they can do that is by charging for the fight, that's what they're going to do. So a lot of times, particularly now, because we have fights on every single week, multiple times a week, there's fights on 4 or 5 times. I think that's some of what we're seeing. We're seeing opposition that we normally wouldn't have seen on pay-per-view in the past more frequently.
Well, it's just big fights not living up to the hype, And
That's some of it too. Yeah, to be fair.
No, it just wears on the fan base. They all the hype and all the buildup and all the support the fans have on both sides, the red corner and blue corner. You want to see a competitive fight, and it's just, when it's a letdown like May Pac and then this one, you're just left with a sour taste.
Although Dylan Keene, were you disappointed by Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury? I thought that was a good pay-per-view.
No, that was awesome.
I thought that was
awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was
fight,
one of
right?
the best ones.
So Dylan, I would ask you, what about that one? Because I thought that one was pretty good.
Hey, did you guys catch Deontay Wilder's interview with he was being
Yeah.
interviewed by that lady? Didn't seem a little bit. He seemed a little bit like
Aggressive.
super aggressive.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna jump on and punch her.
Yeah.
She was like close and then kept getting
Oh, you
further
see it
away,
towards the
further
end.
away.
I'm a
Yeah.
big
Pretty
fan
soon
of
she was like off the table.
You're a big Wilder fan?
Yeah.
He's crazy.
He's funny.
He is a funny dude.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've said about Wilder in the past is Wilder does routinely fight men who are significantly larger than him.
Yep.
Like, we talk about Mikey Garcia fighting Errol Spence, right? And there's maybe a 15-pound weight difference between these 2 individuals. Deontay Wilder is fighting men who are 60 pounds his senior. Like, he's weighing in at 215 and 213 and fighting dudes who are 260.
Yep.
And he's flatlining them, straight up flatlining them.
Putting him to sleep.
So like, I think about that for a minute, guys, when you think about this sort of this weight difference. I don't know what it is in Deontay Wilder, but
I think once
he's fighting big men.
Yeah, but once you pass a weight threshold, like once you're over 180, I mean, you should have enough technique and power to knock out a cow, So
Yeah, that's true. So Chase Athletics, shout out to Chase Athletics. Don't know how bad the damage impacted Mikey in the future. He took some big shots, and I think Coach and I were kind of on that same page. And I was saying that's one of the reasons why I don't know that it needed to continue past round 10. He hadn't shown that he was able. I think this was my biggest disappointment is he didn't adjust his game plan at all.
No.
He had one game plan, and when it didn't work, from round 1 to 12, that was it.
Yeah.
No,
you know?
and it's crazy because he just kept throwing those jabs in his face, and he was just
say
eating
that,
it.
right?
It's like, you know, he's gonna do the same thing. And it got to the point where he was just playing with him towards the end.
Yeah.
He was
totally was toying with him.
He was toying
Yeah.
with him. XKRXZY tips to cut down 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months before a fight. I am not the right person to ask that, but fortunately we have a panel of individuals who are experts in strength and conditioning, coaching, and cutting weight. So
Cut your leg off.
first thing, should we the first question I'll ask is, should we be cutting 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months, or is that
It's possible.
It's possible.
possible.
yeah, possible
In
is
a
true.
in a healthy way, it could be possible.
It could be
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they are a boxer, obviously you have to have the right team around to make sure that you have the right diet plan. With that, you have to have the right strength and conditioning plan with it. Obviously, in these boxers, they train all day, so they're losing weight doing that. But then at some point they get a plateau. So then that's where most people do strength and conditioning, so that they can be able to build up whatever they need to build up. But for them, they would have to do a good plan in order to lose that type of weight.
So it could be done in a healthy way.
Oh yeah.
But a
And
lot
if
of times, go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I was going to say a lot of times fighters can't, Coach, you've mentioned this before, strength and conditioning and nutritionists and things like that are sometimes luxuries for fighters at a lower level. So what can a fighter do, if they don't have the benefit of a strength and conditioning coach or a nutritionist? Are there any tips or healthy things?
Dude, if they got an internet connection, use Google and YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's
YouTube
out.
has everything.
Everything's
YouTube
out.
has
Everything's
everything.
out there.
It's true.
I mean, you've got actually, fitness professionals that document their kind of experiments using different types of diets. So there's a lot out there. Nutrition is probably one of the most important things to keep your diet, to maintain your weight. As far as losing 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months, what's the end game? Does he just need to touch that lower weight for like a day, which is like a weigh-in, or does he need to stay there and maintain that for a long period of time? So that'll dictate.
That's a good question.
That'll dictate too what kind of diet he does, because if he just needs to touch that weight, he can do like water loading or something like that, or just watch his diet for the next 2 months, and he can probably get down there.
Yeah. As someone who has actually cut that amount of weight in that period of time, I actually did this when I came back right before we started the show, probably January of last year. I cut 25 pounds, I think, in just about 2 months in completely the wrong way. So one thing I can tell you is that there's absolutely an unhealthy way to do it, and that's what I did. And I didn't do it because I was ignorant of the right way to do it. I was not educated about what the right things are to do.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I basically decided I was going to eat half of what I ate, right? So, like, I was eating all the same things. Like, if it was a pizza, I would eat half a pizza.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Smaller meals.
Smaller
It
meals.
does work. It does work.
It works. And
Yeah.
I shed weight with exercise, of course. I shed 25 pounds in about 2.5 months, and then couldn't do anything. I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't spar anymore. I couldn't, and I didn't understand why. And I went to the doctor, and they basically told me, don't do that. You have to change what you're eating so that you're consuming the right amount of protein and doing all these different things.
Yeah, you got to have nutrient dense food with minerals and vitamins and all that
exactly.
stuff. Because if you can cut your calories down, but you ain't gonna have the energy to exercise or do anything.
That's exactly what happened to me. So
and you lose weight, but then you're
I
just gonna
lost
be
a ton.
super sluggish.
I lost a ton of weight and could barely move. So there's definitely a wrong way to do it, and make sure that you research nutrition, because that's not what's up.
No, and there's people don't understand there's weight loss and then there's fat loss. So when you lose weight loss, it could be water retention, or it could be a number of things, but you can gain it back just as fast. When you do fat loss, you can see that in your body, you start leaning out.
Okay. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
In fact, when I went to the doctor, he asked me how many grams of protein I consume a day. And I didn't even know people keep track of that. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, all these macros that you hear.
I was like, how many grams of protein? Like, do people
Yeah.
know that stuff?
Well, I'm sure you heard like macros, those terms.
Yeah.
Those are intense. I don't do that, but there's people
Okay.
that do macros that calculate to the T. It's crazy.
Well, you're supposed to do to gain muscle. You're supposed to do, what is it? I think half your body weight in protein a day. So if you weigh like 150 pounds, you got to do like 75 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, and I think they told me it depends on how much you exercise as well, or how vigorously you exercise. So the more that you exercise, the more protein you have to consume. Yeah.
And you can
I didn't know any of that.
And you could actually take more protein than you need, then your body just expels it, just waste it, right? Doesn't use it all.
Oh, I
So
don't.
there's
I don't.
a certain amount too that your body's gonna use.
I will genuinely say I've never consumed the appropriate amount of protein.
But this
And
is
I didn't
all
even- I didn't
from
even know you needed
YouTube,
to track
man.
it.
This
Yeah,
is
it
all
is-
I
it
learned
is.
on YouTube, right?
Yeah, that's true. George Mitchell, getting back to Mikey Garcia. Shout out to George Mitchell. Thanks for jumping on. He said you could give Mikey round 2. Sure, you could.
Yeah.
I didn't. I know that Joe Goosen did on the broadcast. I think their unofficial scorer did not. So I think round 2 was a round that could go either way.
Yeah, I thought he could have that round. I had told her too yesterday. Mikey could have
Maybe.
the second round.
Well,
right?
Maybe, yeah.
When moments, especially like round 2, it looked like, okay, he's gonna start coming forward. He's gonna start doing this thing.
Closing the distance
Yeah,
a little bit better.
You felt like, okay, he's going to assert some dominance because he is walking forward and Spence is walking back. You're thinking, holy shit, Spence is walking back on Mikey. Mikey's pushing him forward, and then real quick, like round 3 and 4, the roles reverse and Mikey's walking back, and I'm like,
One thing I will say is, in retrospect, if you look at every round of the fight, having seen the whole fight, if you were going to pick a round and say, yeah, that's the round Mikey did best, it's probably round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and there's the other round where for about 30 seconds of the round he
think,
really applied pressure to
Was
him.
it 6?
Yeah,
6
but
or 7?
I'm not sure which round it
Like
was.
for 30 seconds, and he was
For
putting
like
pressure,
30
and
seconds.
then he got tired. He was like, he was winded.
So for like that 30 seconds, but I feel like Errol also did enough the rest of that round to make up for that 30 seconds of pressure or whatever that might be.
I hold a lot of blame, and I'd like to point a finger at Snack and Victor Conti. I just think it's.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they bulked him up, but what's the point of bulking up if you're slower? And they just fed it. Whatever workout they did was bullshit, because, okay, he made the weight, but.
He was actually under quite a bit too, right?
Yeah,
He was under by like
you wanna look-
2 pounds.
You want to look at
4
how.
pounds? Yeah.
You want to look at something that works. Look at how Marquez's body looked when he fought Pacquiao the time he knocked him out. I mean, he really filled up his muscles. He was in solid shape. He was bigger. He was bigger, stronger, and I mean, he kept up with Pacquiao. He knocked him out. Mikey was just, he still looked inflated. He still looked bloated.
The problem is that people don't understand that supplements are just that. They're just fillers. You don't use them to lose weight. You don't rely on supplements to lose weight or to gain weight. Your diet has to be the one that changes. And then the supplements are fillers for anything else that you might need extra. But if you're just relying on supplements, no, it's never going to happen.
It's not going to work.
Nope. It's all diet.
I don't know what
His
they were
arms
relying
his
on.
arms physically looked bigger.
His back did
His
too.
back
yeah.
looked bigger. Yeah, his arms looked bigger, but
They were talking about that earlier.
where's the speed? Where's the maintaining the speed that he had? I mean, to me it was probably the dumbest fucking decision that anybody ever made with their career in boxing. It was really stupid.
You seem really upset about it. Tell us what you really think.
It was dumb. It was dumb. It was dumb.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
It's like what do they call it? A nothing burger. It's a pointless fight. He lost. The loss maybe exposed him a little bit. Not really. It means nothing. If he won, I don't think it meant that much either.
I think that the one thing that's interesting is when you look at the other big fights that are out there for Mikey, if he wants to go back down to 135, for instance, and fight Lomachenko in some kind of unification bout, that's excellent. That's what everyone wants to see. It's also a risky fight in a different way, and I don't know that it's great for Mikey's legacy to potentially lose back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's why he should have fought Loma first.
I had said the same thing before.
Yeah.
That I think that the fights that people wanted to see were Bud Crawford and Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko. That's like what people wanted. And
I felt like he had more of a chance with Lomachenko than Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way he can beat Bud Crawford looking at this.
Oh, no. Definitely not. And when I think the reason he picked up a 140-pound title is because Bud Crawford had vacated the division and Mikey went and got a belt off of Lipinets, who in his own right did quite well against Mikey, considering he only had, I think, 13 professional fights at the time that they fought. So Dylan Keene said they wanted a moral victory going the distance, but at what cost? I agree. I don't think it's worth whatever moral victory they perceive, because I don't even really understand the concept of a moral victory that is like a 120, 108, 120, 107 decision. And it certainly didn't do anything to extend Mikey's career, and it could have been very bad for him
He's
if
lucky
it wasn't.
he's lucky he got out of there
Yeah.
just in time.
Yeah.
Because there were some moments there where it looked like he was ready to get knocked out.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize this fight was a Pacquiao sweepstakes.
You didn't realize it was the Pacquiao sweepstakes?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It looks like it's gonna be.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Looks
Yeah.
like it's gonna be. The fight really shows how great Roberto Duran was coming up to two classes to fight Leonard. Well, he's one of the
Yeah.
all-time greats. I think Floyd Mayweather rates him as number 2 all time.
Dude, and look at Duran when he fought.
Guess who number 1 is?
When Duran fought Hearns, he got knocked out, but he was trying.
Yeah,
He was
that's-
god dang trying. I didn't see Mikey try, man. That's the biggest thing that bothers me. Okay, you can block. You're trying to pick your spots, but by round 6, round 7, you should have figured out that I can't pick my spots.
Yeah.
I got to go in there. I'm gonna eat one anyways. Eat one coming forward, close the
Exactly.
gap,
Yeah.
and see if I can land something. And he didn't do that. He
They
didn't
that
take
fight
the
too
risk.
with, Oscar De La Hoya and Hopkins.
Yeah.
They fought
Oh.
twice too, though. He got knocked out the first time and second time. He was keeping up with Hopkins.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
That was a pretty good fight. But he still got knocked out. But he was trying. He was trying.
But
he
he
was trying.
was putting in work, though.
Yeah, he was
That's the
putting in
point.
work.
He's putting in work. Boxeo said they're both still elite fighters, but in their own weight classes. Mikey came up short, and Errol would too if he went to 168. Their weight classes for a reason, like Coach said. So he's on
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
He's on your.
I feel the same way.
Although I will say that there's nothing that I saw in that fight that leads me to believe that Mikey is more skilled a fighter than is Errol Spence, because I think that was the perception of
people
many
were saying
people.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the perception of many people coming into this, and the reason that people jumped on Mikey's train and said we think Mikey could win this is because they thought Mikey was a more skilled fighter. And I would say, at what? Based on based off of what you saw.
I think based off the
skills
record,
gap?
based off just Mikey had more fights.
Experience.
You know.
Yeah, but having seen it now,
Yeah.
I'm curious if people still feel that Mikey is a more skilled fighter, because I just don't see it. He doesn't have the
No,
athleticism.
I think
the
people
footwork.
in the know, people in boxing, trainers and other boxers. I mean, Errol Spence was an Olympian.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's
experience
super
there.
skilled.
He got all the experience
That-
with the Olympians. He
Yeah,
fought.
and that's high level boxing
Yeah.
skills at a fast pace, and you have to
Adjust.
learn. Yeah, you have to have different styles, be able to fight different styles to get to that level too. So,
Boxeo is going to be in town next week. He wants to know if he can get a workout, Coach.
sure, come on,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it, man.
Let's
Let me
go.
know when you're coming down.
Let's get 8 rounds of mitt work.
8
Maybe-
rounds of mitt work?
yeah,
I can't
see
hang
if we
with
can
that
go.
because I don't consume enough protein.
Well,
I'll fight anybody for a round,
let's
though.
do it.
yeah.
Just one round.
Just one round.
Everybody can be good for one round.
Yeah.
Except Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, that was messed up. I'm sorry. I was.
No,
I was
it's
just
true,
joking
though,
about-
it's true.
No, I know.
You know, for me, with I guess after this fight,
I don't really feel that way.
You know
guys.
what's crazy? 10 minutes after the fight, I see a post on Instagram where they put Lomachenko and Mikey, like, that's the next big fight. And I know you've talked about it before. Yeah, Mikey was a 135 champ, but did he beat the best guys at 135? No.
No,
and
he
and
did
I'm
not.
hoping the next step for him is, I mean, I don't think he's going to fight Lomachenko next, because coming off of this defeat, he's probably got to get a real moral victory.
Yeah,
that's
doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, that's like a knockout or some kind of win against a name opponent.
What about
And-
Linares at 135?
Yeah, that'd be a good fight too. But the other thing that is, for me, concerning is when you move up in weight and then you drop back down. How does that affect you? It's not as drastic as the weight gain. Like, we all know the
Roy Jones.
Roy Jones. Yeah, we always
Yeah.
bring up Roy Jones going from like 160, 168, 170 up to heavyweight, and then dropping back down, and then he had no more speed. I don't think that's going to be, the same effect with Mikey, but I don't see him taking Lomachenko on next. And yeah, he's got to prove himself all over again, I think.
But he did say towards the end that he was not going to go probably back down to his weight class.
To 135?
Yeah, he had said it towards the end on the interview. He's like, I probably won't go back down to that. He's like, but we'll go back to the game board. So
Yeah.
40 would be
He-
okay.
He can't stay at 47.
Hell no.
No, you
Probably-
can't stay at 47.
Maybe. I don't think so at 140 either.
I think 40 is dangerous too. Yeah, but
Pretty
but
tough guys there.
at 35, I think, for instance, Linares is coming off of a knockout loss himself at 40, off of his debut at 40. He'll probably want to come back down to 35.
He didn't clean out any divisions. He just got a belt in each division, right?
Hey, I've said this many, many times, and I think one of the reasons that I was so excited about Mikey taking this fight in particular is because, yes, Mikey was is, I should say, a 4-weight division world champion, but I also think that the contests were all in his favor because the champions who he's beating, people like Sergey Lipinets for a vacated belt, he didn't beat Bud Crawford to get a 140-pound belt. He's fighting Robert Easter to get 135. He didn't fight Lomachenko, and he didn't fight Linares. He got it off the next best guy. And in some ways, that makes sense because then you can set up big unification title fights between, more like super fights or pay-per-view fights. But then if you don't take them, you don't really get the opportunity to prove yourself. So Jose said, "Big bro, woo woo." I did my best with the woot woot. I figured that's where you were going with it, but if not, let me know and I'll go. George Mitchell said Spence versus Pacquiao or Spence versus Porter.
I'd rather
It's
see,
looking like
Spence
versus Pacquiao.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think Spence versus Pacquiao more, but I'd rather see Spence and Porter fight.
Who would
be a
you
good
favor in both of those fights? So let's start with Spence versus Pacquiao. How do you think that fight goes?
That fight, I think Pacquiao has more of a chance because he has the footwork, he has the speed, the angles.
And he's got fire in both hands.
He got fire.
He's got
and
fire,
if
bro.
you notice, he still has that trigger in him. He could still step in and step out. If you notice, look at his fights, he still has that trigger. That's going to be a tough fight, but I like both. But I'm still going to go with Errol Spence.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what about Thurman?
Thurman,
Or no, Porter, I
Porter.
think we said. Yeah, Porter.
that fight, I got Errol Spence too. Yeah.
So Errol across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Errol and Bud.
I got Errol.
You got to take
Yeah.
Errol and all of them. Wow. It is difficult when you
Yeah.
look at it. That performance, like you had mentioned that it's kind of this was more about Mikey's stock than about Errol's. And there was a question about like if Errol wins, does it really change his standing or his status? Does it do good things for him because he's beating a smaller Mikey Garcia? I think the way he won actually increased his stock in some ways.
And it was a big stage too. I mean,
Yeah,
lots of people
big
were watching.
stage, yeah,
To
hometown.
show that he had different skills, Not
Exactly.
just coming forward trying to knock him out.
Completely a skilled performance.
And
Yeah.
and not only that, but not too many fans are that in tune with the weight differences. Some people just saw it as like, oh, there's a big name, Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence.
Yeah.
They don't really understand the dynamic of the
Sure.
the weight move. So
Yeah.
it was a big stage. So I think his name's out there now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big crowd, like 47,000 people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big crowd. I think we'll hear that the pay-per-view, I expect that it will beat Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's pay-per-view. Probably somewhere in the vicinity between 400,000 and 500,000 buys. 12 rounds to fitness. Shout out to George and Coach Jen.
Hey, how are you?
What's up?
Yo.
So, and then, oh man, I don't want to mess up this name. Janae Hamada, shout out. Jen and George, do you guys know?
The doc?
I don't know.
I think that is the doc.
Is that the doc? Janae, what do you think?
Janae.
Janae?
Amanda?
Thank you. I appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you.
Hello, thank
Hi.
you.
Chase Athletics, big fights at 135 and 140 for Mikey. It could be the fight that cut his career short. I agree with that. He took some punishment in that fight.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to have to start all over again from that loss.
Yeah. Let's see. Quick question from Jose Navarro. Woo woo. Hashtag Canelo or hashtag Jacobs?
I got Canelo.
You got Canelo?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Canelo.
Canelo? What do you think, Coach? It's tough.
This is a tough
Yeah,
fight. But I got
Canelo should win.
Yeah.
I think Jacobs is just maybe a hair past his best days.
Yeah.
So I think Canelo is coming into his own. He should be able to clean house with that one.
All right.
I think he might knock him out actually.
Yeah.
Really knock him out.
Maybe.
Jacobs
I
is
think Jacob has a pretty good style. He's southpaw and orthodox. He switches and
He's
He
also
can
big.
box. Yeah, he's big and he
He's-
packs a punch.
Yeah, like he's bigger than Canelo. Like
Yeah.
when you look at him, he's just a bigger.
No,
guy.
he's taller,
Yeah.
but Canelo's guy he's
He's
a
wide.
freaking pit bull, man.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
wide
that's true.
shoulders,
Yeah.
He
man.
reminds me of a young Mike Tyson, you know, because he has that big ass neck. He has a big neck.
I gotta
Yeah.
take Canelo.
Yeah.
I really do. Just
Speaking of big necks, who saw Floyd Mayweather wearing like fucking four
chains.
chains,
that's-
Yeah, we were talking about that
Mr. T,
yesterday.
That's
gold
all, that's all we
chains.
were looking at.
dude,
Young
that,
King
those,
Tuck.
those
How much
put,
was that? You think
those put Mr. T to shame,
That's
bro?
probably like-
that was? He had to have like $5 million
those
on
put
him.
Mr.
Huh?
T to shame.
I think more.
That's
Probably
why.
800 mil.
You think so?
No, that's a lot of
Damn,
money. That's
dude.
no.
800.
Dude, he's like he has to do like that's why he does the neck pull up thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got to strap the weights to his neck so he can wear those chains
Man,
out in
Flo-
That's probably
public.
all he does.
We're
Just,
we're gonna
Hey, you
miss
don't think he
Floyd
gets
one
tired,
day, man.
probably?
Do I think he gets tired?
Yeah.
Nah.
From what?
Holding them chains.
no.
Man is
Or
the
bug
man's
him
like
after a while?
he's a world class athlete. I don't
Yeah.
think it bugs him in the
Nope.
slightest.
Mm-mm.
He probably feels like king of the world wearing all that gold,
King Tuck.
and then he has the his $18 million watch. Damn, Floyd.
It's nice.
That's crazy,
It's
man.
pretty nice.
Marlene Macia says hashtag Canelo. Daniel Velez, what's up, Daniel?
Daniel.
joining.
What's up,
Shout out
Daniel?
to Daniel Velez. Spence versus Crawford would be great. Hard to pick a winner, although I'd still favor Crawford. Dylan Keene, you and I are on the same page. I have this sneaking suspicion that Bud Crawford is the best welterweight in the world. And the reason I say a sneaking suspicion is because if I just said Bud Crawford's the best welterweight in the world, a ton of people are going to hit me on Facebook and on this chat and everywhere else and on Instagram and say that I'm silly and that Bud Crawford doesn't have the resume. And he doesn't. That's fine. Like, he doesn't have the – he's only fought twice at welterweight. He's fought some good dudes. He won a title in his first fight. I completely understand people who say he doesn't have the resume. I suspect, though, that he would perform well against the other top welterweights in the division. I think given the opportunity to fight the likes of – I certainly think he would beat Sean Porter and
Keith
Danny
Thurman?
Garcia. I think right now Keith Thurman is not in the type of shape that he would need to be in coming off of the 2-year layoff, and he didn't look great against Josecito Lopez. He needs a few more fights.
I think Josecito Lopez is a pretty tough dude, you know?
He's super tough. Super like he
comes
almost
to
had
fight,
him.
yeah.
He almost had him
He
out
comes
of
to
there.
fight.
Yeah, he comes to fight. So I would favor him against pretty much any other welterweight, and I think that given the opportunity to fight those dudes, he would prove that he is actually the best welterweight in the world. I understand that he hasn't done that yet, but that is my suspicion as well. I would tend to favor Crawford. He has something that just this intangible quality.
I feel
that
like
I've described.
Josecito, somebody should just give him a belt just for like
Dude, he's
effort, for
bad.
effort.
He's a bad dude.
You know,
Yeah.
he should get like best effort award.
Even
Yeah.
though his resume's
Champion
not that
of
good,
the
but
greatest effort, best effort.
he comes to bang.
Okay, Daniel Velez, give a shout out to Chloe Beverina. I hope I said that right, Daniel. Chloe Beverina, UCLA, winning the National Collegiate Boxing Association West Regional
Oh, nice.
and the
Congratulations.
Outstanding Boxer Award in the female division. So shout out, Chloe. Well
Shout
done.
out.
Congrats.
Los Angeles, yeah, LA native. Okay, more on Instagram, A-Box. So Daniel, you can follow at A-Box Media SoCal. Cool. George Mitchell, can we get more boxing drill videos back on the channel? That's up to Coach, man.
I know, Marco.
boxing
Sorry.
drill
Yes.
videos.
You know what? Some of those videos got hundreds of thousands of views.
I was looking at them this week, actually.
I'm like, damn, man. I really
boxing drills, man.
Yeah.
the pressure's on. I got to live up to the expectation now.
I
I'll,
know.
I'll get on it. I've said that like 6 months ago, but you know what? Forgive me, guys. I've been training Joey. You know, we won Golden Gloves. Been training George and trying to get these guys ready for competition. But I will do some videos. I have been thinking about it, and I'll come out with a series of some instructional stuff very soon. I appreciate that people are watching.
People like it, man.
That's awesome.
I get requests for it all the time
Yeah.
on here. I wish I
Yeah.
could help. I mean, I suppose I could. What I need is like you dudes to show me a drill, and then I'll try and do it, and people will laugh at me. That's what, I'll
What
get,
not
that'll
to
get
do,
tons of views.
What to do? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, they'll tell me what I'm
Like,
doing
keep
wrong.
your hands up.
Like, I know, damn. It's
Yeah.
easier said than done.
Like in your footwork video,
Your
it's
feet
all-
are too far.
Yeah, your footwork video, it's all focused on footwork, and you could go down in the comments, and someone will be like, "He doesn't have his right hand high enough."
Yeah. It's all good, though. As
That's
long as
what
they're watching.
dude. That's what I should do. I should just go around and have people show me drills, and I'll try and mimic them.
yeah.
After this, you want to do a drill?
I'm down.
He would.
I'm down. For sure. We'll do it. We'll get
Hey,
some
did,
drills on here.
Gabe Rosado fought on Friday.
Yes, he did.
Did you see that fight?
I did see that fight.
That was a pretty awesome fight, huh?
Yeah, so he was on DAZN.
Damn, he almost did it too.
He almost did it. Gabe Rosado was fighting for it was basically a title eliminator.
Yeah.
So the winner of that gets to go on to challenge Demetrius Andrade, I think, at 154 or 160. I'm sorry, 160. Yeah, my mistake. Gets to challenge Demetrius Andrade at 160, and Gabe was in bad shape. Like he was dropped like.
He got dropped in the first punch that connected like within 10 seconds.
And he was dropped like 3 times.
Yeah.
And he lost most of the rounds, and then he gets to round 9 and lands that shot you're talking about.
Yeah.
Almost puts the guy away. Does well in round 10, but it certainly wasn't enough. And then he kind of had this Adrian Broner post-fight moment where he said he thought he won and did enough, but like
I don't know how you
not quite like I
can understand that he thought he won that round, at the very end, but you can't expect to win when you get dropped
the whole fight. Yeah,
every other round.
Dropped like every other round.
But he's another one of those fighters that's like so close to like Josecito Lopez. Yeah. He's good. He's tough. He can take a shot. He can land his punches, but he just can't get over that hump to get that victory. He just can't put guys away. And I don't know. He probably won't be around much longer. Not to say that he's washed up or anything, but he's just so close, but yet so far away. And he's great. He's great fun to watch, though.
Yeah,
he's always fun to watch.
Yeah, he's exciting.
And he's in Creed. No, I'm just kidding.
He's gotten better though from like.
He has gotten way better
from the Triple G fight. Yeah, he fought some of the best dudes, at 160.
Yeah, because the guy he fought, the Polish guy, he only lost. The only loss was against Jacobs, right?
I think so.
But so that was. I mean, it was an entertaining fight for sure. And there was a couple other fights on that card actually. So Katie Taylor picked up her 3rd belt in that weight division. So she's 1 belt shy. The WBC belt, I think, is the only one that she doesn't possess from becoming the undisputed world champion. So, and it sounded like in her post-fight interview she would be interested in any of the big fights, but really more than anything, she wants to become undisputed world champion first and then go and fight some of the other big names.
Dude, Mikey Garcia should take notes from her.
Jeez.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's tough. Dylan Keene, Crawford's my number 2 pound for pound. Currently, he's a scary dude. He's got skills to adapt.
Who do you say is his number 1?
I'm assuming, Dylan Keene, that your number 1 is Loma, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know.
Yes, Dylan. What's your number 1 pound for pound?
Who's your number 1 pound for pound? I think the key phrase in there and the quality that I was referring to earlier is his ability to adapt. Bud Crawford has an ability to adapt like nothing I've ever seen. And I mean, it's not like nothing I've ever seen. Yeah. There are actually other fighters who possess this quality, but they're all elite fighters. Yeah. It's like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward. These are guys who, if their game plan is not working 4 rounds into it, they'll use a different game plan, and you'll actually see it. And they have a way of starting off slow and then throughout the course of a fight just separating themselves from the competition.
Starts going up.
Exactly. And this is the quality that, for instance, you didn't see in Mikey Garcia last night. He didn't adjust to what was happening in that fight. It just continued to happen round after round. So I think we see more adjustments. And that's one thing that I see in Bud Crawford that makes me believe that he's actually someone who should be at the top of the food chain in the division. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. it was creeping right there at the tip of my tongue. Chase Athletics, Crawford doesn't have the resume at 47, but he was a unified champion and went about it the right way. Yeah. 100%.
Yep.
100%. There's only 2 in all of boxing unified undisputed world champions. He wasn't just a unified champion. Bud Crawford was the undisputed 140-pound champion. Yep. And I think that's an accomplishment, I mean, in any weight class. Like, it seems so hard to do.
Yeah, I think boxers nowadays are dismissing the unification too much to go for different divisions instead of just cleaning, getting every belt.
Okay.
I think that's harder to do because there's so many.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the hardest thing to do. And all, like, I think you get more credit for winning belts in multiple divisions. But
that's what I'm saying.
It's easier to win belts in multiple divisions than it is to win all the belts in one.
Yeah, because you could be like, okay, I'm WBC champ at 130, but I'm gonna go for the IBF at like
135.
Yeah, exactly. Because
126.
you're gonna pick the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're gonna go after the weakest opponent.
And one of those could be vacated. One of them could be a guy who hasn't really fought anybody. So I actually think I don't just think that. Statistically, it's much easier to win a belt in multiple weight divisions than it is to unify and particularly to become undisputed, which is why.
Yeah. That's why with George, once we turn 115, we're staying there and we're cleaning house.
All right, man. Clean it
That's
up.
the plan.
Clean it up at 115. I like it. Dylan Keene, if Josecito was in a different weight class or in a less competitive division, he'd have a belt by now. He's got the heart, man.
Yeah.
The Riverside Rocky is a good nickname for that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's like
he's really tough.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. He's like always.
He gets
He's the
dropped, he
underdog
gets back
always.
up, and he comes to fight.
Yeah, he's always the underdog. Chase also said he was at the Rosado versus Selecki and he lost his voice. The fight had 4 knockdowns, 2 apiece. Yeah. So I can understand that. That was an exciting fight.
He must have been rooting for Gabe, no?
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. I don't know. Chase, were you rooting for Gabe or were you rooting for? Let us know. Daniel Velez says, Marco, you got to let him know Joey's going to represent LA team August 23rd. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, he's putting they're putting like an invitational with see, I don't know if it's Kansas City, Kansas or Kansas City, Missouri, but there's some team from Kansas coming down.
one of those two.
Yeah, I always get that confused. I didn't pass geography, but yeah, so he's putting a team together of some of the best boxers and amateur boxers in LA versus the best boxers from Kansas City, and they're supposed to come down here, and we're gonna have a I guess competition. See who's the best.
Have a little competition.
Yeah,
huh?
see who's the best. I am sponsoring the LA team with their uniforms.
Nice.
So
Right on. Well, good job, Marco. Sponsoring Team LA.
hell yeah, gotta represent.
Yeah, you got to represent.
That's how I got Joey on the team. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man, you're not supposed to tell people that. Keep that part to yourself. Dylan Keene said, of course, Loma's number 1.
Dude, I think after seeing Mikey, I mean, looking so slow on his feet, I mean, I feel like Loma's just gonna dance around him and just work number
Take his
on.
shots.
Yeah,
That's what he does.
yeah.
That's what he. The thing is like we know that 135 and at 140, that Loma feels those shots a little bit more, right? Like you see him get knocked down by Linares. You see Pedraza, who uses a jab really effectively and actually does some damage to Loma just through the effective use of a jab. So I think it can be a more competitive fight than, say, last night's fight was.
Yeah, for sure. Mikey Pedraza would be a good fight, too.
Yeah, Pedraza would be a good fight. Linares, I think, would be a good fight. So there are opportunities for Mikey to, I think, recover and have good fights.
You know, part of me says that he went after this fight to see how much. I mean, I don't want to call it a money grab, but he tried to create the biggest fight that he could to make the most amount of money he could right now. If he fights anybody besides fighting Lomachenko, because I don't think he wants to fight him. But, if he fights Pedraza or any of those other guys, he's not going to get the kind of money that he could get off this Spence fight.
Yeah, but I think Mikey's 31, right? And he had to take 2 years off, right, in his prime, essentially, or multiple years off, right, in his prime. So looking for big fights right now, I mean,
that's what he's trying to do. You're saying?
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing to do for his career. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's got to look for the big fights, and the truth of the matter is a lot of times we as fans would rather see big fights than meaningful fights, right? There's more to be said about wanting the stage or the moment in some cases. Yeah. Because if Mikey could have won, it would have been huge, right? It would have been huge. It would have been great for his legacy. He'd been a welterweight world champion, 5-division world champion. And the next fight beyond that, if he gets to fight, like, say, a Pacquiao, think of how much money that Mikey gets to make out of that. And we care more about seeing him fight Pacquiao for a WBA regular belt probably than we care about him fighting Linares or someone like that. So I think in some sense he also has to make, effective business decisions, but it just didn't end up looking like it wasn't a good look for Mikey in any way, really. Dylan Keene. Oh, George Mitchell. Shout out George Mitchell. Tank versus Loma.
Bring it. Dude,
Bring it.
anybody versus Tank, that's
Question mark.
you know, let him fight everybody. He just needs to fight.
I'll leave it to y'all. You guys start. I'll wrap it up. Who wants to go first?
I like both. I was a big fan of Loma growing up. I seen him fight at the Staples Center at the amateurs at the WSB.
Oh, cool.
Oh wow.
So like, but Tank, I feel like if he touches him, it cuts him in the chin. He's gonna fall. He's gonna fall. That little kid is gonna.
So tough one to call, you think?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Call?
But I'll go with Tank.
Jenna's shaking her head. It's not a tough one to call. What do you think?
Tank.
Oh wow,
Right.
she's just emphatic.
But
the emphatic.
You never
Tank
know,
Davis.
you know. Lomachenko uses angles. He's really fast on his feet.
That's true. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Loma can touch Tank like 4-1
Sure.
on the punches, but
Yeah.
that one that Tank has is he's got that one punch knockout power. So if he gets him,
Wow, we got
Right in the
three
chin.
tanks.
yeah, I
We
think
got
so.
3 tanks. I'm gonna break the trend here, and I'm just gonna say I have to take Loma, and the reason I have to take him is because Loma has just shown in many ways that he is special, and I don't think Tank has had the opportunity to do that against the opposition that he's faced. We know Tank hits real hard, right? Like we know that he's fast. He's got a lot of really compelling things, but Loma is special, right? Like the man came out. He's like 12 fights into his career, has won titles in multiple divisions. He fought for a world title in his second professional fight. And he takes people who should be competitive with him and makes them not competitive with him. Yeah. Like, you look at fights like Nicholas Walters. Nicholas Walters was on top of the world at one point, and he's a bad dude, right? Like, he's undefeated, quits on his stool, and nobody has heard of Nicholas Walters. You know what I mean? Rigondeaux was undefeated. He humiliates Rigondeaux, and Rigondeaux's next fight occurs on an untelevised undercard on pay-per-view. Like, he's having to recover his career. That's like what Loma does to people. And so I think that he's just exhibited a special quality that makes me go, I can't favor Tank just because Tank hits hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I get that he hits real hard. He does, and he's fast. But Loma has shown time after time that he's something more than that. You know what I mean? He's truly special.
I feel like he has a lot of skills, but a lot of people are criticizing him because I guess when he fought Jose Pozadra, he didn't look as good.
See, and I think that's interesting. That's an interesting criticism because he annihilated Jose Pedraza, right? He just, he took a lot of jabs to the face in the process of doing it, and Pedraza had a good game plan.
And he had
but
good
it's not
reach
like,
on him, too.
and he had a lot of reach on him, but it's not like it was a competitive fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he dropped Pedraza, who was a bigger man, had a really big reach.
People were just critical because he wasn't perfect and he didn't completely obliterate him.
The one time he looks human, right? We looked at him. He was human. He made a mistake, and still it was an absolutely dominant performance, a completely dominant performance, right? And it's the same thing really against Linares. He really dominated that fight. He made a mistake. He got caught. He got up, and he dominated the rest of the fight.
Came back strong.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of how good he is. He's so good that when he looks like he's even losing a round, you think, oh well, he lost a round. Now he can't beat Tank Davis. So I still favor Loma in that.
Well, hey, so we're still kind of talking about the big fight last night. So there was right. There's Benavidez fought Jalen Love.
Dude.
Talk about domination.
Dude.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
And I thought Jalen, Jalen has been in some wars, and he's actually pulled out some good fights.
Yeah.
He's a good boxer. He's pretty strong, but damn, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Benavidez.
David
strong.
is a bad man.
Yeah.
He's a bad man. Like I was telling
I'd give up the belt if I was at 168. I'd be like, take it, leave me alone.
George and I were talking about this, and if the dude can keep himself on the straight and narrow, like if he can make the right decisions, and I know he's young. I mean, he's what, 22,
21,
or
22.
I thought
maybe 22.
Yeah, I think he's like 22. If the dude can keep himself on the beaten path, he can achieve great things.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
he truly can. And I mean, the speed, the power. George and I were actually going through this whole fight earlier, man. But that dude's bad.
Yeah.
And that belt
He's
is
a monster.
coming.
He's strong.
That belt is coming home.
Yep.
First,
he's gonna take that belt back.
He's
gonna take
going
that belt.
for it, bro.
first jab he landed on Jalen, stunned him. You know,
Yeah.
like within 10 seconds he landed the jab, and Love was just, he was like, oh shit, man, couldn't do anything.
Dude,
I just like that he's in those angles at that 168.
and
Yeah,
what
he moves
Yeah.
like a lighter
he
weight.
moves really well for a big guy.
Yeah.
And not only that, like, what he throws, what you would describe from
Yeah.
any other fighter as a shoe shine, right?
Yep.
You would describe it from another fighter as a shoe shine, only you look at the way that those punches are landing,
Just
and it's
speed
not a shoe shine,
Yeah.
right? Like,
They're
he's
power-
actually, like, those are
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
punches, and he's, like, got 5 in a row and 6 in a row on you.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, damn, dude.
He throws like 6 punches and they're all coming hard and fast.
They're all coming hard, right? Yeah, like,
So what's the next one for Benavidez? He should be
Anthony Durrell, I think
Yeah.
they'll order it.
title
so-
fight.
Well,
Get
yeah,
his belt back.
yeah, exactly. So, because he was essentially made the champion in recess by the WBC, and then I don't know if you guys saw that last
He
fight.
was walking in with a belt though. I saw.
What's that?
David was walking
Well,
in
he's
with a belt
he's the
last
champion
night.
in recess. So
Okay.
basically, the real WBC champion has to fight with David. The guy who has the WBC title has to fight with David. But there was some because I don't know if you guys watched that last Anthony Durrell fight, but it was ended as the result of a headbutt, and it went to a split decision. So I think it was like 10 rounds in. There was a cut that was from a headbutt. It goes to a split decision. Anthony Durrell wins the title, and the opponent has contested. So he wants the WBC to force an immediate rematch on that fight. So the WBC has to rule this week if they're going to force the rematch, or if they're going to mandate Anthony Durrell and Benavidez. I suspect that they will mandate Anthony Durrell and David Benavidez fight next.
Yeah.
To crown the true WBC champion.
That's the fight I want to see.
Yeah, I think it's the fight
Yeah.
people want to see,
Yeah.
and I think it's the fight the WBC wants to see
Makes
too.
more sense.
Yeah, I think it makes
Not
more
the Plant
sense.
fight.
Well, Plant, yeah, but basically first we have to get this whole WBC title situation cleared away.
It builds up the other fight.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
I
that's
would-
gonna be one of the big. That's gonna be one of the bigger fights, and I'm glad to see that if those two guys can get together and make that a big fight, I'll be happy to see that because I've seen those guys come up from the very beginning.
Yeah, because they're from. I mean, you see them train and stuff around here, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
I've just been watching them since their very first fight, So to see them both fight each other for the title and see who's the best. I mean, Caleb Plant talks as good as you can talk, He talks himself up. He's been through a lot, we talked about him.
Yeah.
He's been through a lot in his life. So
He
he's got a
recently
lot.
lost his mother.
So he's got a
Yeah.
lot to fight for. And David has a lot to fight for too. His him and his brother came up pretty tough, I think, in Phoenix, Arizona, and David was like an overweight kid. I think he was like 250 pounds when he was like 13. So to see that, I mean, it's two inspirational stories. It's hard to pick,
Yeah.
but both of them are bringing it, and they're good champions.
But the truth of the matter is, stories and the drama makes fights in many ways, right? You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things that makes that a compelling matchup is they both have good stories.
Well, I'd like to see them be big names, besides all the other names that we hear all the time, which is Pacquiao and Mayweather,
Yeah.
and I want some new names in there. Bring in some fresh blood. damn it.
Yeah.
Errol Spence.
Spence, yeah, bring in some new blood.
Errol
But then
Spence.
that's what I say. You got Pacquiao in there for the sweepstakes. As soon as Spence wins the fight, they wheel out Manny Pacquiao. They bring him out in the wheelchair. And go, hey, come here, buddy. Get in there. He's old already. Let him just retire.
He doesn't want to retire.
No,
He does. He's actually still looks good.
Yeah,
though.
he can compete. I'm
He
just
has
messing.
that trigger.
Yeah.
He
He has
still
that
looks good
trigger.
sometimes. I mean, I don't know that I would take him against like the top welterweights in the world, like
Yeah.
Bud Crawford. I wouldn't favor him over Errol, but like he could
Yeah.
still do damage.
I think Spence could hurt him. It's gonna hurt Pacquiao.
yeah,
so.
but like I think if he fought a guy like Danny Garcia, he could still.
Oh yeah.
He could still.
Well, we've
he-
been wanting that fight for a while.
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
We right here have been wanting that fight.
Yeah, you and I have said because
I'm a
I
big
think
fan of Danny. I like Danny.
yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
feel like-
I do too. I just think
yeah.
Pacquiao has some
Yeah.
things that would be challenging for Danny.
He's faster. He's gonna use them angles.
Explosive,
Yeah.
very
But I feel
explosive.
like-
And I don't think people are. Yeah, I mean, I agree with George. I don't think people are fair with Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
They're real critical on him
Yeah.
Maybe because his dad talks a lot, but he's only lost 2 fights.
Yeah, and they were both very competitive. That's the other thing is, like, you could watch those fights and say that Danny won those 2 fights as well. So I think that I'm not saying he's not a commodity or that I think he's a lesser welterweight. I just think that the stuff that Pacquiao has would be effective against a Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's all.
in his first loss when he fought Kirkland, I felt like he hurt Kirkland. That's why Kirkland started boxing him. He wasn't trying to stay there with him and bang. Because I felt like he felt his power punches.
All right.
So the card last night had Chris Arreola was on there, right?
Yeah.
Chris Arreola was on the
card.
card.
And then Charles
Martin. Actually, so there's a question here about Charles Martin as well.
I think those 2 guys are going to fight each other next, Martin and Arreola.
That would be
looked
interesting.
better, Charles.
Charles, you thought he looked good last night?
Yeah.
I actually,
cool.
well, yeah, because I mean, I've seen him fight on All-Star boxing cards a bunch around here in the past. So I've seen Charles.
I mean, does he fight out of LA or does he fight out of some other, like, is he from Florida or something? Or
He trains at Legends.
Yeah. But when they
he
call
fights
him
out of Carson, they say out of Carson, California.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if he's like grew up somewhere else, I mean, damn, he's been here for a long time now.
Oh yeah, no, they say out of Carson, California when they introduce him. So let's see. I'm going to go through a couple of these comments. I got a bunch of catching up to you. Sorry, guys. George Mitchell, if Spence somehow unifies 147, he should go to 54 and he'd be a problem. He's easily big enough.
I think he's a really big dude.
Yeah, he's big.
He'll do great at 154. I feel like he'll take.
Yeah. You remember when he used to like call out Canelo at 154 all the time? Like, like I don't think that would be a thing.
I feel like Errol would beat Charlo brother at 154.
Yeah, but they're part of the same
friends?
stable. Like, they would never fight each other,
Like
right?
best
Like
buddies,
that's the problem. Like, so they would have
Dude,
to go
if the
with
money's
those
right,
someone
they'll
else.
fight
I think
them.
that's they kind of those 3 cats kind of split those 3 divisions between them so that they can each conquer a lane. You know what I mean? Like,
I think Hurd is a really big dude at 154. I feel like he was like supposed to be like at 168.
Jarrett Hurd looks like
huge.
he doesn't feel punches or something. I don't know. Oh man.
Hey, Jaime Munguia moved up to 160.
That's what I think they were saying.
Who said that?
I don't know. I
I
think George told me that when we were watching boxing the other day.
They were watching Rosado.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were saying.
Because that would be a good fight for Spence right there, Munguia.
Because he's still the 154-pound champion.
Yeah, Munguia Spence would be a great fight because I think right. I think
I'm
Spence
like-
that would be great for Errol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be a great fight for Errol. Yeah.
It's cool.
Let's see, Dylan Keene. Tank would get destroyed by Loma.
Oh.
Oh man, you're gonna spark. I'm the only one who backed Loma here on the panel, so you're gonna spark some debate. JK, hello. Shout out to JK. George Mitchell. Tank has good skills like Spence. He just doesn't show it because he doesn't have to. I don't doubt that Tank has good skills. I think that he hasn't had the quality of opposition that allowed him to really showcase it in the way that we hope. There's kind of a difference between having it and getting to show it.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to stay more active.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's his fault. In all fairness, I don't know that it's Tank's fault that he's not fighting as much as we would like to see him fight. I think some of that probably has to do with promotional involvement, and I don't know about this exhibition in Japan. Like, like why are they gonna Tank fight an exhibition in Japan? Like, that's no way to showcase you're beating up some 127-pound kickboxer. Like, come on, man.
Tension?
He's gonna knock him out.
Tension.
He's gonna knock out Tension.
Yeah, of course he will. But
Tension,
what's the
first
point?
round.
Tension's like, knock me out, money team. Just give me the money.
That's all it is, money.
Against the ropes.
And that kid's
on.
young too, right? Tension. He's like 2019.
What's that? He's only 19?
Like 19 or 20 years old.
Yeah, he looks like it. He's
Yeah,
also like 127 pounds. Though. Like he's way smaller than Floyd, and he's still smaller than Tank. Like, and Tank is,
Hey, but tension when he does fight his kickboxing matches, he does like this crazy kick where he like flips over and kicks him over the head.
I actually watched a bunch of highlights.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of
badass
highlights.
dude.
Yeah, you just have to fight
He's
people who are
too.
like, we talked earlier about there being weight classes for a reason.
Yeah.
This is why when you're 127 pounds, you don't fight
That's
dudes
why I
who are
don't
like
like
150.
that's why I don't like Mayweather anymore. You know, like, dude, you take an exhibition fight and you're like 30 pounds heavier. Come on, bro.
Everybody took exhibition fights, though.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson took exhibition fights. Muhammad
yeah,
Ali took
Mike Tyson took
fights.
exhibition fight
Rocky Balboa.
against dudes that were bigger than them.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's exhibition fight is not even against a boxer. He almost knocks the guy out, and he's wearing headgear.
Who was it again?
I think Mosley and Oscar they fought against Shaq.
Yeah,
they did.
They fought it.
They fought Shaq. Yeah, that's right. I remember Oscar and Shaq. I don't remember Mosley though.
Well, that's how insecure Mayweather is. He'll fight a smaller guy in an exhibition that's supposed to be something for entertainment.
I don't know about insecurity, but I do know that he probably is insecure. I'm just saying that if someone offered you $10 million to fight a man who is your junior in a boxing match, you're going to take it, right?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah,
all
day long.
It's not even a question. You would do it 10 times, right? I'll do it 10 times if they want me to.
Just book me the whole weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So for that reason, I can't hate on the guy. Against the Ropes podcast jumped on. Shout out to Against the Ropes. Lomachenko. Cool. Thanks for backing me up because I was on my own up here. Thoughts on Charles Martin winning by DQ?
Lomachenko again.
The dude had the point deducted like in 4 consecutive rounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you could have.
And there was still some that he didn't catch.
I know, and
So
they
it
should have
was
DQ'd him. They should have DQ'd him beforehand. Like,
That's crazy. And it seemed like, man, Charles was landing hard straight left on the guy.
He really was.
He had a chin on them. He wouldn't go down, but
He dazed him.
yeah, but it seemed like if the ref didn't stop it, there would have been another low blow.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm surprised. Normally, the way it works is like they'll take the point, then the next time they'll take a couple points if it happens in succession. Then the next time you'll be DQ'd,
okay.
right? So they'll give you the hard warning and basically do like, hey, this is
One
going to be
more
like
and
a
you're done.
2-point deduction, and if you do it again, you're out, right? But this dude just was like 1 point, and then the next round there's more low blows. 1 point, the next round there's more, like 4 consecutive rounds. He's deducting a single point for low blows. I'm surprised he even made it as far as it was. And in fact, I actually think if you're Charles Martin, that's kind of a bummer because when you look at your record, you have a DQ victory, but you would have won. Like he was winning all the rounds.
But if you got hit in the balls like 5 times in a row, you'll take that DQ all day.
Yeah.
You're like, thanks, ref. About time, man.
He was definitely.
Shits were about ready to fall off.
No, I'm not saying that he contests it because obviously he was very frustrated, and by the end of it, he's probably like, "Thank God."
He was cut too, so
he was cut.
You know.
But I also think that it just kind of robs him of he would have got a
dude.
A
You never know,
win
but you know what? You never know with a heavyweight because
anything could change.
That guy wasn't going down.
He wasn't going down. I agree.
He could have maybe landed something in another round or two and changed the whole fight.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that any of us want to see. We don't want to see professional fighters get hit in the balls like 5 rounds in a row.
No, I can't remember the last time I saw a DQ. You know,
that's a good point. I'm trying to think.
Zab Judah and Mayweather when they got?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw a DQ.
I don't remember. Like it's been a long time since I can remember a DQ actually. Anyways, Dylan Keene says Benavidez is a truly brutal fighter. He's got skills. And he's going to become the next superstar. He has what it takes. He's got the stuff. The only, you just have to maintain discipline. I think that's true for a lot of the young cats. You know what I mean? You have to be able to keep yourself clean. Like, you can't be messing with your body and doing stuff like that and then expect to excel at the highest level of the sport. You know what I mean?
And 22, anything before 25 is like, man, temptation is just so, I don't know, so overwhelming, you know?
Yeah. The party bus, you know what I mean?
Well, he's got the ultimate party bus, though, you know? World champ, man, making big money. Yeah.
The way Joe Goosen called Benavidez a good prospect. He ain't no prospect. That's true. I actually have asked a few people on the show that before. I've had young fighters come on at a certain point. I'm like, are you annoyed with being called a prospect? Because like at a certain point, I guess it's probably more appropriate to call people a contender. Yeah. But Benavidez was a world champion, so I agree. He's not a prospect, but
he's a contender.
Caleb Plant is currently the Great White Hope. What do you think about that?
I mean, he can back it up. I think. I don't know if that's why some people like him, but
so like I think Caleb Plant has a good.
I don't think he can beat Benavidez. He can beat everybody else probably. But go ahead.
Caleb,
sorry.
I was going to say that he has a good story. He's got a lot of things going for him. You know what I mean? And he's interesting, and he proved that he has a lot of boxing skills. I actually didn't favor him in that fight against Uzcategui. I had picked Uzcategui to win, and he more or less schooled him. He just showed that he has some issues with stamina, though, because in the later half of the fight, he did have issues going the distance and to the point where his his corner had to tell him to stop throwing combinations because he was getting too winded. So I think in order to compete with someone like David or compete with the other 168-pound champions, he'll have to work on that.
Well, I think, to label somebody Great White Hope, I wonder if that means that they're going to fall short.
You think so? Like automatically? Like they'll
Yeah.
fall short? Is that a disrespectful comment, the Great White Hope?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if he meant that, because it seems like it has that connotation nowadays,
And yeah, I suppose so.
right?
Yeah, I guess like if they're saying that he won't actually achieve.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was loud.
Nice.
Somebody shared something on Facebook apparently.
Uh-oh.
I thought I muted this. There we go. Now it's muted. Sorry, guys.
And then Areola fought, right?
Areola fought an undefeated guy who he knocked out in about 2 rounds, but he was taking a lot of clean punches too.
Was he?
Chris was, like he was getting punched clean quite a few times. It was just that I think the other dude couldn't hang with Chris's power. You know what I mean? So, but he took a lot of clean shots, and I think depending on who those shots come from, they could have been really devastating shots.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But he probably sees the all the action in the heavyweights right now. He's like, I got to get in on this, right? That's his motivation for his comeback, right? This is like his 3rd comeback now.
Maybe, but like against who? Like he said he's chasing titles. He's already been stopped by Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua has the remainder of the titles. Chris signed with PBC. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom and is on DAZN. So I'm not sure what he means by chasing titles. Like which title is he going to go after?
I think he has a fair shot against Dominic Breazeale if he can fight him. That'd be
He
a good
can,
match.
yeah. I mean, that's true. There's some cats like Dominic Breazeale, Joe Joyce, who might be like interesting matchups because they're rising stars against or people who are sort of trying to reach that championship level. But Dominic Breazeale is going to have to fight Deontay Wilder next.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Ooh, I can't wait to see that. There's a lot of bad blood between those two, huh?
yeah, there is.
I got Wilder.
You got Wilder in that one.
I pick Wilder on every fight, man.
Yeah, I'm like,
All he needs is that right hand to land in your chin. That's
Even if he
it.
fought Tyson Fury again, would you still pick Wilder?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he wouldn't wait as long.
I don't know that it was waiting so much as he was just
Couldn't
not
get
able
in.
to connect.
yeah.
Yeah. What
But I
about
think
the
Tyson
fact?
Fury? He's pretty good. He's really skillful. He throws
Super.
a lot of different angles. He's really quick, fast for a heavyweight. He's pretty quick.
I agree. I think like they had a stat in the last one that said something like the average Tyson Fury fight, heavyweights land less than like 7 punches around against Tyson Fury. It's just hard to get it done when you're not getting hit ever. You know what I mean? So I actually think that would be I would have to go Tyson Fury in that fight if they went with the rematch, but it would be an entertaining fight. The first one I thought was great. I would love to see it again.
The build-up, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was fun, right? I thought it was fun. But they were talking about putting Breazeale and Wilder on pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view. But we won't know. I think on Tuesday they're going to make an announcement about how Wilder is going to proceed in his career because DAZN.
oh yeah, he did say that there was an announcement.
Yeah, an
coming.
announcement
Yeah.
coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, what was he talking about in that interview?
It was confusing.
I didn't listen to
In
it
his
'cause he was
defense-
scaring me.
In his defense, I don't think he's allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're making an announcement on Tuesday, so it's not like he can come and say, oh, I decided to sign with this person or that person or whatever the case is. He's got to wait until Tuesday.
Yeah.
So she asks him, like, what are we going to find out? And he's like, we're going to find out the answer to all your questions because, he clearly can't answer them right now.
Yeah.
He was doing people's eyebrow again, though, right?
The people's eyebrow. Oh, man. But, I think it'll be obviously, I suspect that he'll say that he's sticking with Showtime and Fox and PBC, but you guys saw that DAZN offered him $100 million. So, no wonder they're going to have to put Dominic Breazeale on pay-per-view. DAZN was going to give him $20 million to fight Dominic Breazeale. You know what I mean? That's and $40 million for 2 fights with Anthony Joshua, each $40 million each. So
to Wilder?
Yeah. So Wilder's the deal that DAZN offered Deontay Wilder, apparently, allegedly. I don't know. I didn't see the written offer, but this is what's reported: $100 million 3-fight deal. First fight was Dominic Breazeale for $20 million, and the next 2 fights were Anthony Joshua for $40 apiece. So Anthony Joshua and a rematch with Anthony Joshua.
Wow, $100 million?
That's $100
oh
million.
my God.
Jeez.
George, we gotta train harder.
I know.
Yep.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, no, I know. We're training hard already, but
He'll show me some drills.
But that's
after
some
this, and we'll film it.
motivation, though,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I just love that DAZN throws that kind of money around the boxing right now.
I don't think he's going to accept it, though.
Eddie Hearns.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when he makes his announcement on Tuesday, you're going to find he's sticking with PBC and Fox and all this stuff. But
Well,
that's why they have to put it on pay-per-view,
well,
because
is it a
otherwise how do
better-
they pay him?
Yeah.
You know, like
Is it a better offer then? It's got to be, right?
possibly.
So then
Possibly.
he's ducking.
He's that's. I've actually read people say that he's clearly ducking.
Yeah. Good Lord. They're offering him everything.
Well, we'll see.
More than everything.
We'll see. On Tuesday, he's going to announce whatever his offer or what he's decided to do. So I'm excited to hear that. George Mitchell said the pay-per-view should have had more names on the undercard. So I've actually heard a number of people sort of criticize the undercard for PBC. What did you
Yeah.
guys think? You guys watched it.
I feel like there should have been more fights on the card.
On the televised one, like more
Yeah.
fights on TV? Yeah. And I think they had to Prince Charles Martin was like a freebie, right?
Yeah, it was a prelim.
Yeah, it was like a prelim they put on
Yeah.
FS1.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was pretty weak sauce, man. Most of the
I don't
I
like.
haven't heard that
I don't like
since
the way
like the
that
mid-1990s.
Exactly.
The undercards, like the Sean Porter fight too. There was like 4 fights on TV.
That's true. I think what we're getting used to as boxing fans, when you watch DAZN and when you watch ESPN Plus in these fights, they're like televising the majority of the card for the day. So like you're able to tune in starting at like 2 in the afternoon and watch all the way through the main events and stuff like that. But when you get these pay-per-views, it's the traditional pay-per-view model where it's like 4 fights, right?
Yeah.
And the main event, they want to walk somewhere around 8 p.m. So it's like 4 fights, the main event right around 8 p.m. So in some ways, I think we're getting more spoiled now because in the past, like 5 years ago, you only would have ever seen those 4 fights
Yeah.
on pay-per-view,
Yeah.
or even on the main cards like on HBO and stuff like that. But now you
Yeah.
get to see the whole thing.
yeah, I mean, it's great you get to see the prelims, but I think if it's pay-per-view on that level where it's $75, every undercard, like those three undercards before the main event, those should be title fights or minor title fights or something.
There's enough titles. Look at the Box Rec
Yeah,
Champions page.
exactly.
Vacant.
it's
Titles all over the place.
No, it's you're not getting your bang for your buck, you know. When you're just getting when you're getting these build-up fights, when you're just getting these tune-up fights on the undercard, it's not worth it.
Let's
And
see.
and you know why? Because if the main event's a dud, at least you got some good ones beforehand. So, but
yeah,
anyways.
that's true. I actually feel like a lot of the times the best fight of the evening is normally one that doesn't go on TV.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like if you go and sit at the venue and watch them all day, the best fight is normally something you didn't get a chance to watch,
Yeah.
like on TV and stuff like that.
The best fights are the sparring matches that people don't see.
I think sparring sometimes is way harder than fighting.
Well, you've
It's
seen some
supposed
good
to be.
sparring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You've seen some
tougher.
elite sparring.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Sometimes you don't see some of the best fights you've ever seen, or some good amateur matches with the like top guys going at each other, or some good sparring because it's usually closed doors. But you'll have champions actually sparring each other quite consistently because they need to get better. So they call up their buddy and say, "Hey, we'll give you some money. Come spar me." So, but yeah, I mean, put some good fights on. Damn it, people are paying for it, man. Stop being like just ripping people off, man.
How much of that is like David, for instance? I thought David Benavidez, having been on the layoff, coming back against J. Leon Love, that's a good opponent for David to sort of
That
make
was
his
the good
comeback.
one, yeah.
Now, it turned out to only be 2 rounds. But, because David kind of turned on a dominant performance. But when you looked at it on paper, you go, that makes sense. It's a comeback fight for David. J. Leon's kind of on the downside. David's been
No,
off.
on paper, that was a good fight.
Yeah, exactly.
On paper, that's a good fight.
So-
You can't
so-
complain with that one. I think it's maybe the ones previous to that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people were talking about that fight too, that it was a mismatch. Yeah, sure, David ended it quick, but I actually thought that was a good sort of fight for David to get back into the.
What about the
groove of
one where
things.
the Irish guy?
Which one?
Was that on the pay per view? Some kid. I think he got dropped. He got KO'd in the first or second round. I think the second round he had red hair and a beard.
No,
that
I don't
on the
think I saw
prelim?
that. I don't think I saw that one.
Oh,
It might have been on the
Loma
prelims.
Showtime?
No, this was on the Mikey Garcia undercard.
I did not see that.
I don't think I saw
What?
that.
Oh my god!
No.
I thought it was because it was
I think it was a
St.
little
Patrick's
leprechaun.
Day.
You
Yeah.
saw.
Maybe.
In your dreams at night.
Oh no, somebody will remind us of it. But there
I
was an
know.
undercard that was total mismatch. The guy was 5-1, and then the guy he was fighting was 8-0, and it looked like the guy never boxed a day in his life.
I didn't see that. If you guys know who that is, plug it in the
Yeah.
chat.
You know, but
'cause I'm not sure how I missed that
There's
one.
enough.
I watched like 5 cards this weekend.
Yeah.
No.
I have no idea how I missed that.
There's enough there's enough belts out there. There's enough champions. So I mean, they should definitely up their game on the pay-per-views, because I'm not paying for another pay-per-view. Honestly,
You're not gonna pay for Bud Crawford next month? Amir Khan? I'm gonna pay for it.
I'll wait till somebody
I'm
goes
gonna
live.
watch it.
I think American has a chance. He's freaking fast.
Yeah.
He's super
He has a
fast.
chance.
I'm hoping. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Amir Khan has a good chance
Yeah.
too.
I don't think he will take it, but he is. I gotta give him. He does have
Yeah.
hand speed advantages and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But Bud Crawford
comes
has a
in, he
way of
comes out.
neutralizing things over
And he's
time.
got experience too
Yeah.
with high. I mean, he's fought people of the level of Bud Crawford. Yeah, I think he's lost to them, but I think he's gonna beat him.
Oh, okay, yeah. Against the ropes, the Robert Garcia fighter beat up the Irish boxer. It was right after Benavidez. So here's what I literally went to the restroom at
Yeah,
the
it was
start
over.
of
You know,
I
you're
went to the
right.
restroom at the start of this fight, and I came back
It
out.
was over.
and I asked my wife what happened. I was like, "Hey, so I thought there was another fight coming on," and she was like, "Oh, it's over."
Oh, I
so
know
I
which one he's
I have
talking
no
about.
idea which fight that
Remember?
was.
The Olympian?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I-
one with
yeah.
the
They
red
didn't know.
hair. Yeah. Yeah, I know which one
I
he's
did, so
talking
I
about
didn't.
now.
I actually didn't see that fight.
Yeah, like
I
how
did
do you
not see
put
that
how
fight.
do you put that garbage on a $75 pay-per-view fight?
Yeah, that one.
Honestly, the promoter,
I know, bro.
screw, F you guys, man. Put some real shit on. Don't give us that.
Dylan Keene. Okay, so he said coach is talking about Roach. He got knocked out quick.
Yeah,
So,
Roach.
He got knocked out
Roach,
quick.
yeah.
He got knocked out quick enough that I missed the whole fight while I was in the restroom. That's a true story.
That's some shit you see,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, the club fight, you know?
A club fight.
Not no pay-per-view.
Here's a
man, come
question
on.
for you guys. Against the Ropes podcast asks, who's the number 4 best heavyweight boxer? So assuming number 1, 2, and 3 are Fury, Joshua, Wilder, who is the 4th best heavyweight in the world right now?
I don't know.
Isn't that,
I guess who could we see?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
it's
there's
between
Dominic
White
Brazil,
and Brazil.
Luis Ortiz,
It's Ortiz.
Dillian White.
It's
You're going
between those
Ortiz?
three.
Baby
They
Miller,
can all
right?
fight for that spot.
Baby Miller.
Joseph Parker, Big Baby Miller. Yeah. So there's a bunch of guys up here.
Yeah.
It's probably Vladimir Klitschko. No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, that's
That-
probably
You,
Vladimir.
you can't pick who's the best 4th is or whatever, or who's in the 4th spot. You know, they've all got to fight for that position.
At a certain point, they all have a legitimate claim to it until they
Yeah.
compete
Yeah.
against each other.
Yeah, they've all got a claim to the 4th spot. You know, it's 1, 2, and 3 that matters, and they're gonna fight against each other.
I
so.
will say that Luis Ortiz actually did fight for a heavyweight world title and was performing very well. He was at least evenly matched with Deontay Wilder right up until he was
Yeah.
knocked out. And my impression is that he was winning that fight,
King Kong?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to pick Ortiz. I think the thing that throws a wrench in that is Alexander Usyk is making his heavyweight debut. And it could very well be that if you were to ask, 6 months or 8 months from now, that we would say Usyk is the 4th best heavyweight in the world until he gets an opportunity at a world title. Because I think he's going to fight. He's going to fight at heavyweight in the next few months here. So I tend to pick Ortiz, and I actually think Ortiz showed that he has
He still got it.
some advantages over the likes of like Deontay Wilder and stuff like that. He was just seconds
He has
away
the
from
skills.
finishing him. Yeah, he has the skills. Don't sleep on Usyk. I'm not sleeping on Usyk. I just said that I think that he'll be in the. He hasn't even competed yet. I can't count him as a heavyweight. Can't be ranked before he fights. Man. All right, let's see. Navarro, Chase Athletics wants to know, what do you do for mental preparation? How do you get mentally prepared for a fight?
I just visualize, like in my head a lot, and I just train hard. I feel that that's the key to everything. If you train hard, you don't gotta worry about anything else.
So is it like basically you're mentally prepared because you know you've prepared your body in every
Yeah.
way that you can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confidence level.
Yeah. And
Brings
when
the
you say
confidence up, if you train hard, everything goes up. Your confidence, your preparation, you know you're not gonna get tired in the day of the fight.
When you say visualize, can you elaborate on that more? So you kind of picture
Picture
the fight in your head,
I picture the fight in my head, like when I'm laying down sometimes, and I'm just looking at the sky, or anywhere, I'm just chilling. I visualize like me knocking him out, or me hurting him in different rounds, or me working on the game plan. What can I do? Like if it's a real fight, like I'm basically fighting, I visualize each round.
And do you use that when the fight's going on? Like when you're actually in the ring and you're competing between rounds, things like that, are you comparing sort of your visualization? Are you re-visualizing it? Or is it over at that point and you're just executing?
Sometimes I do use it, or sometimes I'm just executing. I just keep, like, if I see something, like if I hurt him to the body, I'm going to just keep going to that same spot, where I'm going to change it up and then go back down to the body.
So it may play out differently.
Yeah.
You'll just kind of adapt to what it is. Good question, guys. Thanks for bringing that one. Tim Gallegos. What's up, Tim? Shout out to Tim Gallegos. He says Ortiz. Ortiz is next. I think that's where we landed. I think we landed on Ortiz.
Yeah.
Is that where we landed? Pretty much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Ortiz. I give him
Usyk
props.
could get in there. You give him props?
Yeah, Ortiz, he's a beast.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because he wasn't far off from being like the number two guy in heavyweight.
Until he fought Wilder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe number one, but Joshua's got number one. So
Yeah, but even then, he was, like I said, I felt like he was beating Wilder.
well, yeah, he was.
He was.
was.
And he was
almost knocked him
moments away from knocking him out too. Not just beating him, but almost knocking him out. I don't know what fight. The judges apparently didn't feel the same way when you look at the scorecards.
And any other day the ref could have stopped it too.
Yeah.
True.
Any other day, any other referee.
I feel like he got saved by the bell. Wilder.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He showed some resilience though. You know what I mean? Because he was in trouble.
He was wobbling.
Yeah, he was in trouble. But I think, did you guys see the fight that did we talk about Tevin Farmer and Jono Carroll?
Did not.
I don't think we talked about that, right? So Tevin Farmer and Jono Carroll fought on Friday as well. So this is like the fourth title defense in 8 months for Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer has, if you guys haven't heard his story,
active.
check it out. Yeah, because the dude is active, and he has a really interesting story. He struggled early on in his career. He had a number of losses. At one point in his career, he was shot through the hand and had to go through rehab and things like that. And since then, he's come back. He's won like 18 straight fights. Is a world champion now, competing, and always looks very skillful.
Yeah.
Well, as he's competing and doing stuff like that. But he fought Jono Carroll. The thing I thought was interesting is so they fought on Friday, and then on Saturday they posted a video of the two of them rolling around Philadelphia together, eating cheesesteaks and doing stuff like that. And it was very like, they were doing rough face-offs and stuff like that. But you see them and they're very friendly the following day. So like, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Would you have your opponent on the party bus on the way back or what? Like,
hop on it, bro.
Hop on it? Yeah. Is he welcome?
Sportsmanship.
I guess it depends on how hot the everything going up to it is.
Yeah.
As long as you win, yeah, come on. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tevin Farmer took him into the heart of Philly to get a cheesesteak.
Yeah. Well, he beat him, so then he's like, hey, I got something that'll cheer you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tevin is underrated. So what do you guys think? Tevin Farmer and Tank Davis. Who gets that? Tevin Farmer or Tank Davis? What do you think?
I don't think it's an easy fight for either both, but I feel like if Tank catches him too, I feel like if he catches him, he's gonna man down. But it's hard to catch Tevin Farmer. He's really skillful. He has a head movement. It's really good.
I think if you pick Tank for Loma, you kind of have to pick Tank over Tevin Farmer.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Tank is going to beat Loma and then tell me that Tank is not going to beat Tevin Farmer. Like,
I feel like Loma and Tevin, they fight different,
They do fight. They do fight different, but they're both very skilled.
Yeah.
And they use movement in certain ways, and
but I
things
feel like
that.
Tevin uses more movement than
Those guys been going at it back and forth on social media for the last 3-4 months for
Tevin
longer
and
than that. Yeah.
I kind of got bored of the fight already. I feel like I don't want to see him because I feel like they should have made that fight happen like a year ago.
You know what's interesting about that is now that Tevin Farmer has the network and now that he has the belt, he doesn't really seem all that interested in fighting Tank Davis. Like they even asked him about it after the fight, and he was kind of reluctant.
Yeah.
You know, he was, and I don't know that that's like out of fear or anything like that, because he pursued Tank Davis for such a long time when he didn't have a belt and he didn't have a network, and he was coming up, and that was the fight that he wanted to sort of make his bones on. But now that he's made it, I think he's kind of in a position where he's kind of saying, "Hey, I have some
I feel like he
authority."
doesn't need him no more.
Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't need him, and so now he's kind of like, I don't care if I have to fight Tank or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Against the Rope says Lomachenko is greater than Tank, who is greater than Farmer. That's a formula that I can get down with. I think I could get down with that formula. Oh man. Did anyone feel any racial tension in the promotion in Spence versus Garcia?
No.
That's a pretty deep question, brother. I can't say that. I mean, I wasn't directly involved in the promotion. In looking at what I saw, I was at several press conferences. They did one here at Microsoft Theater in L.A. I didn't feel any racial tension. In fact, I think these two, they kind of had a difficult time promoting the fight in the sense that they're both humble and respectful individuals, and so
They
when
don't
you,
talk smack.
they don't talk trash, and they don't. So
The performances were good too. The performances that came out.
yeah, so I think I didn't.
Oh yeah,
feel,
that was badass.
Yeah.
The ring walks.
yeah, the performances were good.
That
Errol
was
Spence
cool.
with the drums.
Because he got really Mexican.
Yeah.
Mikey Garcia. Like, really
Hey,
Mexican.
but you know what's crazy? Spence came out in Mexican flag colors.
Yeah.
And he was wearing
Green,
the
white,
red.
red.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And
Yeah.
I said, oh shit, he's got the same thing Mayweather had on when he fought De La Hoya. I said,
Yep.
he's gonna whoop his ass. I'm like, damn it.
Done deal.
Yeah.
But like I didn't. Did you guys feel any racial tension? I didn't think so.
I don't
Even
think
the
so.
crowd,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't for just one person. I felt like it was, like, equal.
Yeah, I was surprised that there was so much support for Mikey. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think
Well,
Mikey
yeah.
had a tremendous amount
They're
of support.
known out there that they I think he's fought out there.
He's fought in
Oh,
San
yeah.
Antonio.
San Antonio,
yeah.
but I think they have a gym out there.
I'd like to
They
know.
have fighters out there from
okay.
Texas.
I'd like to know where like, the guy who made the comment, where they saw racial tension, because
I don't know if they did or not.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't know. In boxing, yeah, you get countries versus each other, you know, but the boxers always respect each other. They don't care what color you are, where you came from, because at the end of the day, it's just like, damn, is that guy good? Yeah, he's good. I better be on my A game, you know.
Yeah,
They don't give a shit what color you are. They're
I'll
all
tell you,
they're all
like,
the same.
I've seen some things where, like, for instance, when I went
all
to
media hype.
Thomas and Mack, I think, to see Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Versus Maravilla, and the crowd is like, those guys are booing each other's national anthems, which is like they're refusing to stand for anyone's national anthems, and the Argentinian national anthem is getting booed by the Mexican fans, and the Mexican national anthem was getting booed by the Argentinian fans, and it was like, that was like a really heated type of moment, and I don't feel like I didn't really see any of that. I just saw a lot of respect coming from both sides, kind of it took away from the promotion in some respect, that they were so respectful of each other. Chase Athletics says Tank is not fighting anyone competitive anytime soon. I can see that as an argument, but do you think that is Tank, or is it have something to do with promotional company? Because
Puss in Boots. It's his fault.
Did you see the Mary J. Blige meme or whatever?
No.
You didn't see that?
She was wearing the same thing he is.
Yeah.
Oh, is Mayweather?
Yeah, did you guys see that?
No, I
They
haven't.
had the who wore it better meme, and it's like Mayweather and Mary J. Blige.
I gotta see that one.
And the truth is, they are literally wearing the same thing. Like, it's
Puss in
Same
Puss in
color
Boots,
boots.
man.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. If you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. Mary J. Blige. Here, let me do this. I don't even know what I just did. I didn't know the internet did that right there. Okay. Mary J. Blige. Forgive this moment of silence as I try and find a meme. For those of you who are listening to the audio only, apologies, but you can Google this yourself. I just forgot Floyd Mayweather's name for a minute. There we go. Let's see. Images.
Oh, yeah. I see it.
It's very much like the same thing. Like,
Oh my,
this one's pretty good,
He has
Coach.
a weird ass style.
people seriously have too much time. and to think Mary J. Blige, like,
Oh
insane.
man. Well, somebody remembered, like, oh
Yeah.
shit, Mary J. Blige wore the same thing.
that's-
Let's make a
Somebody-
meme out of it. They're like, when
Somebody
did she wear
remembered.
that? Oh, the Grammys like in
Ah.
2012.
Dylan Keene says Mayweather is not going to let Tank out of the cage yet. Let him out the cage like Chris Algieri.
I feel like he's gonna let him build his money up.
Oh, let him out.
I guess. I mean, Mayweather's has a shitload of money, so that means he knows how to make money. So maybe we're all stupid and he's the smart one, you know.
Well, this is what I was saying about the exhibitions. Like, I can't blame him for taking an exhibition. Like, like
easy money.
Someone's gonna give him $9 million to whoop a 127-pound kickboxer. Like, I can't blame him.
He's like, I need to make $10 million right now. I know how. Bam. How are you gonna do that, Floyd? Watch me. I'm just gonna fight somebody. Fight who though? Anybody.
Exactly. Like, if you could get Tank, think about that. Like, how much do you think these guys got paid for their pay-per-view last night? If you could get Tank $7 million to fight a kickboxer, like, at some point you're kind of like, man, I don't, like, you kind of have to think about it, right? You have to consider it's like not a boxing match, but
well, I mean, that's the thing about the sport. It's all about money now. Well, it's probably always been about money. So
business gets in the way of it, though, right?
Yeah,
That's what you're saying. Like, as a fan, you can look, and as a participant, you could say, yeah, it's a business. We're here to make money. We're here to do these things. But business isn't always good for fandom, right? So we think business gets in the way.
Anytime you can merge the two, where you take care of business, but you also take care of the fans and the sport, then that's what we want. Anytime money just trumps the interest of the fans, then that's when the sport starts to slide.
Dylan Keene says he hopes Tension breaks the rules and gives Tank the
kick.
Rolling Thunder. That's the name of the kick, apparently.
Yeah.
the Rolling Thunder.
It's badass.
Oh, man, the Rolling Thunder. Tim Gallego said, Chris Algieri, he's cute, though. I'm sure many people feel that way. I'm sure they do. Chris Algieri. Oh, man, I think we covered all the fights this week. Did we cover them all?
I think he does modeling sometimes or something. Algieri.
He's like a nutritionist now.
Who?
Chris Algieri.
Oh yeah, I think he was for
Danny Jacobs,
Danny
right?
Jacobs,
Yeah. Chris Algieri is like a nutritionist.
I think George over here is taking his spot though with the Instagram modeling though.
Dude, the
he's
whole
in shape, man. You see this kid? He's
I
ripped.
know. He's totally in shape.
Check out his Instagram, guys.
The whole all black get up thing, like the all black suit and everything like that. Like, I was like, damn, I gotta get one of those. Is that what I don't. I still wouldn't look good in pictures, but it makes you look way cooler.
Well, I mean, I tell anybody, look at George's page and tell me that, or look at his pictures. Tell me he looks like a 115-pound boxer. He looks like a 130-pound boxer.
No,
man.
a lot of people were saying, no, it's a lie. He's not 118. He's bigger than that.
It's a lie.
It's like
It's a lie. Let me tell you guys something. They all have to get on the scale, brother. They all get on the scale. Did we talk about Louis Neary? No, we didn't. So Louis Neary won last night as well on the Errol Spence Jr. card. Did you guys check that one out?
no, I don't think so.
Oh, you didn't see this one?
I think I saw that.
The Miguel Arroyo. He looked fantastic.
He stopped the guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was like 4
Guy was
rounds,
way
I think.
outclassed.
He was super outclassed, dude. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it was like
from the get-go.
Yeah. Oh, man. But, like, I thought that was a good one. But, I mean, I guess this is another one where, I don't know, like, there's kind of what happened, and then there's what these matchups look like on paper, right? And so sometimes people say, oh, there's, like, huge mismatch. I thought, like I mentioned with David Benavidez, I thought the David Benavidez match was a good fight for him on paper. Mm-hmm. The fact that he won in 2 rounds just shows you sort of the caliber of fighter that he is. And it could be the same thing for Louis Neary. Like, was it a mismatch coming into the fight, or was it a mismatch, now that we see it in retrospect? Now that we see it, maybe it's a mismatch. Like, I guess you could say the same thing about Chris Arreola. So Chris Arreola, who's on the latter part of his career, essentially coming out of retirement to do this, and who's been through some wars and taken some punishment.
Yep.
We don't really know how he's going to react to a young guy who's 17-0, who at heavyweight, everybody kind of carries power. So you don't really know how he's going to react. You can't just put him back into the ring with, like, he can't take his first fight back and be Dillian White, as an example. You know what I mean? Like, so you kind of, some of these guys, they have to be matched strategically. And you can make an argument that fight shouldn't have been on the pay-per-view card. Like, maybe that fight should have been further down. We should have seen a different one on the pay-per-view. But I think for these guys, sometimes this is the right move. Like, who's Charles Martin supposed to fight? If it's not this dude.
Yeah.
Like Charles Martin has to coming off a loss already, plus the title loss to Anthony Joshua, which was like 1 round. He's got to strategically be matched with some of these opponents.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Did we cover it all? Did we get everything?
I think we talked about everything in boxing.
I'm sure that I miss something every single week.
No,
I even got to Jono Carroll's Philly cheesesteak this week, so I think we got it all, man. Where can we follow you at, man?
Follow me on Instagram, George Navarro 35, and Twitter, George Navarro 35, and Facebook fan page, El Phantasma.
Okay, Facebook fan page, El Phantasma. I think I missed the Facebook fan page. I'll have to jump on that one.
Yeah.
And Jen?
Jen's Fitness Evolution with periods in between on Instagram. And that's it. That's my biggest platform.
Nice. Coach, you've got a couple going now. I noticed.
Sweet Science Gym, I think. I don't know.
And Sweet Science Gear. He's got both. Yeah, Sweet Science Gym.
We got to work on that one. That's better pictures.
At Sweet Science Gym and at Sweet Science Gear.
Yeah, or you can just come down to my gym and say hi.
Yeah, Boxeo. Boxeo's going to come get a lesson later this week.
Yeah, I'll start working on some of the tutorial videos very soon.
Yeah, we have to have George show me what's up.
Yeah.
Tim Gallegos is going off on female boxers right now. Best female boxer of all time.
Dude, Hammer Shields coming up. Holy shit.
Hammer and Shields is coming up. Yeah, that'll be dope.
Who's going to win that one? I think Clarissa's going to win.
I think it's we kind of have as a U.S. Olympian, there's this, I think, sentiment that I hope Clarissa Shields does well, but she did look vulnerable in her last fight. She was floored. Yeah, she was dropped. She was dropped early on, so I think it made her look a little bit more vulnerable, and it opens the door to more questions about whether or not she can hang with Hammer.
Is Hammer bigger?
She packs a punch, right?
No, they're about the same size, actually.
Don't fight anybody whose last name is Hammer.
Yeah.
Is that as a rule? Tim Gallegos and Wolf. Now, here's what I'll say, Tim.
Oh, shit. She'll beat Mike Tyson.
I know. Here's what I'll say, Tim. I don't know that Ann Wolf is the best female boxer of all time, but she is probably my favorite. So Ann Wolf is an absolute beast. I actually think that she does really well as a trainer, and I'm surprised that more professional boxers do not get trained by Ann Wolf, like on TV and big name fighters and stuff like that.
She's too tough on them.
You think that's what it is? She just drives them too much? Because like the way that Kirkland was able to perform with Ann Wolf compared to how he performed with other people.
I mean, you can train hard. You can train really, really hard. She seems like she has a personality that doesn't have a off button. You know?
I mean that's
then
for sure.
The thing about training is you got to sense your fighter too. You know when to push them and when to kind of lay off a little bit, because you can overtrain and then you can try to train them into the dirt where they're useless. You know, they still got to perform every day. So that's
true.
And
so maybe a matter of overtraining.
And I seen her techniques, man. She
is hard.
She does some hardcore shit.
She's hard for sure.
You can't. I mean, to do that for every camp over and over again. I mean,
too much.
You just like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
But it was effective for a long time. Like you look at James Kirkland, he was winning when he was with Ann for most of the time. You know.
Yeah, and then he went to jail and fucked it all off.
Went to jail.
But yeah, she's super legit as a trainer and fighter. I think they say Layla Ali avoided her, right?
I believe it. I believe that she did. Yeah. I would too if I was Layla Ali. No.
She was pretty good too, but
yeah. Tim Gallegos said Hammer is way taller. But they're roughly the same size. Like Clarissa's not jumping, a bunch of weight classes to make the fight. This is there's a difference between height and size, and I think this is one of the things. Like people are saying Errol's way bigger, right? Like Mikey's fought people who are taller than him before. Like Robert Easter is taller than Mikey is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like. And that wasn't the effect. So it wasn't just the height; it's how you use it. In Errol's case, he used it really well, and he used the reach advantage really well.
The jab.
Yeah, exactly. He was working behind the jab. So yeah, height-wise, she's taller, but I don't think it's really. There's not a significant size difference between the two. All right, I think I'm gonna call it. You guys good?
Sweet.
Sweet. You just want to get on with your St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's celebration.
Yeah.
There's
a green beer waiting for me.
There's nobody up here wearing green either. We're all in black.
I have a little bit of green.
Oh, do you have?
Just a little bit of green.
A little bit?
Just a little.
I'll count it.
And today's a very nice day. I mean, we've had some pretty extreme weather the last 3 months.
A lot of rain.
A lot of
right?
rain,
Lot of
which
rain.
is unusual in Southern California.
Yeah,
And today is just feels like summer again
it does.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So
So I'll let you guys get on with your St. Patrick's Day. I want to say,
it's cold.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm like not in here having to bundle up wearing sweaters.
Right.
and stuff like that.
that makes it good for training too. You get good sweat going.
Yeah.
That's true.
Muscles
Yeah.
warm up faster.
True. All right. Well, I want to say thank you, Jen. Thank you, George. Good,
Oh, thank
best
you,
of
guys.
some people. I don't know if you believe in luck. If you do, good luck. Otherwise, I know you've trained hard.
Yeah.
Both of you guys together, all three of you, I should say. And
Well,
look
real
forward to seeing
quick,
your
the
fight.
fight's going to be, I think, 360 Promotions, Facebook Live,
Okay,
right?
cool.
Or
Yep,
Twitter
Sunday.
Live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Next,
Facebook Live.
next Sunday. So
Cool.
make sure you guys tune in. Watch George. He's been training hard. We've got a good opponent in front of us that I think is going to showcase George's talents. So we're ready. Please watch, support.
Is the weigh-in at Churchill again?
Yeah, formerly Wildcard Boxing. I think that's
Wild
also,
Card West or whatever?
Yeah, Wildcard
Yeah,
West.
it's Wild Card West.
And I think that that's going to be on Facebook Live also. The weigh-ins
Yeah.
are pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
The main event on that is Sergey Boyachuk.
Yeah.
Russian guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, which he's a hell of that guy's a hell of a fighter. I seen him take a guy on that was 12 pounds heavier than him and just destroy him, like on his fourth or fifth fight. But yeah, watch the fight, guys. George is, local guy, hard trainer, hard fighter, a lot of skill, good looking kid.
All right, guys, make sure to support when's the next one. If you're talking about our next episode, it's every Sunday right here live at Sweet Science Gym while George is in the ring.
Yep.
I'll be
Don't
doing a
miss it.
podcast. Yeah, unfortunately.
Dude, you can watch it while
I was
you
gonna
do
say
it.
unless I can't find a guest, in which case I'm hitting the party bus. You
We're
know what I
doing
mean?
it. It's so happening.
Hitting the party bus.
Yeah.
I'm one of these days I got to catch a party bus.
You will.
Yeah.
You'll
But
Very
love this
active.
one.
Chase Athletics says good luck. Thanks to all you guys
Thank
for
you.
being so active on the live chat today. I appreciate you. I'll be back right here next Sunday. That's it. Peace.
Bye, guys.
See you. Beer.